Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and NB pals, welcome to Fallapalooza 3. Goodness, I've been waiting all month for this moment, and I'm super, super excited to finally showcase 32 of Fall Guys' hottest teams in a tournament sponsored by the community. $2,000 prize pool up for grabs for 32 of our hottest Fall Guys duos. And joining me in the booth to start up this event and get the hype started, the one and only Chloe, aka Beginning. What's going on?
Not much, not much. Just been looking forward to this for. Well, let's face it. I messaged you like the day after Fallapalooza 1 saying, hey, I want to get into this commentary for your tournament, and we couldn't make it happen for Fallapalooza 2. So as soon as I told you I couldn't play at all for Fallapalooza 3, I was like, all right, let's get us in here, and thankfully we were able to make it work.
Absolutely, yeah. We finally got you in the booth, and you've done a lot of Fall Guys tournaments already, showcasing your commentary prowess. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you along this time. Now, you've competed in the previous Fallapaloozas. Tell me, as a competitor going into day one, what goes through your mind? What are you feeling as you approach the first day?
Well, if anybody knows me, they know tournaments aren't the best for me. Tournaments don't seem to go very well for me, so I go in there, and my mentality is, let's win one round. As soon as I win one round, I'm like, all right, expectations better than already. But like for the general competition, like obviously I say that, but like in my head, I'm sitting there a lot of the time, and I'm like, try not to overthink it. For me, I go into the mentality a lot of the time of it's okay if I'm going to get outraced in these and I might lose a couple points here and there in the early rounds because I'm more confident in like the finals. So I prefer like try not to overthink myself and over worry and analyze, what gold medal got this, what gold medal, and just focus on getting through the rounds early on and then sort of build that, extra feeling as you're going through it.
Kind of just take it game by game is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's pretty smart. Yeah, I think there are, players that kind of go with the whole get into the mathematics of it. They're like, okay, well, now we're this many points ahead, this many points behind, but sometimes that can psych you out. So just depends, just depends. Now, speaking of those kudos, let's just take a little peek over at the rules for a second. We'll fill you in on how this tournament works, how this tournament is scored. It's a single elimination bracket, meaning there are no second chances. You play 3 episodes. If you win, you move on. If you lose, see you later. Have a good time. We'll see you at the next Fallapalooza. And it is a kudos-based scoring. If you guys are unfamiliar with kudos, kudos are the kind of currency in the game, and each individual game in Fall Guys, whether it be the races or the finals or whatever, gives you a certain amount of kudos based on how well you place. So if you get a gold medal in a race game at the beginning, you're going to get more kudos than if you get a silver or a bronze or if you just squeak by. And hackers or disconnects are going to result in an episode reset. We have a couple of modified rules for that. If a single player disconnects more than once, then we kind of just have to go on for the sake of time, but we want to keep things fair. We don't want the experience ruined for our competitive players today. Now, that being said, we do really admire when players go above and beyond. So those multi-crowns will be honored with full kudos, whether that's one person on one team, one person on the other, or 2 people on the same team. We saw the amount of hype that came from allowing that double crown in the finals of Fallapalooza 2. So we're bringing that rule back, baby. We're going to have those multi-crowns honored with full kudos. Now, all matches are going to be on the main show. We're not going to be playing hard mode today. And griefing in team games is not allowed. That's one rule that we'll always keep in Fallapalooza. The team games are kind of just like a waiting screen. Either your team goes down or your team moves on. You have to play it in good faith. Otherwise, you will be deducted kudos for kind of going against the spirit of the competition. I think that, nobody really benefits if we use the team games as a strategic, throw. Nobody has fun doing that. Ties are broken with an extra episode. Haven't seen it happen yet. Those kudos scores, they tend to be pretty definitive in one way or the other when you get through 3 episodes, but in the case of a tie, it will be broken with an extra episode, which will be super exciting. We've got a little bit more time slotted to allow for this to happen. So maybe we will see a tiebreaker today. That'd be pretty hype, I think.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see a tiebreaker.
Now, the cool thing about Fallapalooza is that it is a head-to-head format, meaning that you are always going to be in the same game as your opponents. And let's take a look at this first bracket right now. This is, you know, I always say that the Fallapalooza matchups, like, I look through the whole bracket, and I'm always just, I don't know who to cheer for. I don't know, like, what part of the bracket is going to be the hard part of the bracket, because everybody comes to play at Fallapalooza.
Yeah, I mean, even like, not to toot my own horn or anything the last time, but like, even when you see these brackets like that, like, you know, the number 2 seed got upset last tournament, and so even though these are like seeded in their own way, it's really hard to even predict what's going to happen in these games.
That's right. That's right. And let's take a look at this first group, these heavy-hitting players right here. So, what do we got here? We have Muchas Gracias versus played in the first Fallapalooza. They were unfortunately knocked out in the first round. They're coming back for a little vengeance here against Muchas Gracias, which is the teammates Aortek and Mr. Kororo. They're making their Fallapalooza debut today, ladies and gentlemen. But these guys are not pushovers. These guys have over 4,000 crowns between the two of them. They've won Twitch Rivals events together, and they're finally coming here to make a name for themselves in Fallapalooza. That's going to be a matchup to watch.
Yeah, Mr. Kororo is definitely like a name that if you have been around for most of like the start of Twitch Rivals, start of Fall Guys competitive scene, even in like some of the chase for the crowns and stuff like that, that's a name that you are going to know and be familiar with.
Right. Excellent. And following up right underneath them, the Legends versus the Wolfgang. Wolfgang being Paleo and Stratosphere. And if you guys have been watching on Twitter, Wolfgang really knows how to keep coordinated, keep orchestrated. Wolfgang made it to the quarterfinals in our first Fallapalooza event. They're going to be looking to repeat that today. Versus the Legends, who we haven't seen from Fallapalooza 1. Got knocked out in the first round, if I remember correctly, but they're here to make a name for themselves. That also is going to be a heavy-hitting matchup to watch.
Yeah, I feel like that one's going to be one that we're not really going to be sure what to expect. Like, to me, Palillo and Stratosphere are people that I've seen in the scene for a while now. But, like, Icarus and CVH are definitely not going to be pushovers to them whatsoever. So it'll be really interesting to see who comes out of that one.
Absolutely. And you know you can't help but draw your eyes to the next matchup. Gas versus Heaven and Heck. Heaven and Heck making their Fallapalooza debut tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Faye and Berto have been in the competitive scene for a while, kind of underneath the surface, but they're finally ready for this here Fallapalooza performance against Team Gas, who is our defending champions, and they have a little bit of a reputation to live up to today. Let's see if they can make it happen.
Yeah, you know, defending champions, a little bit of a reputation.
Yeah. No pressure or nothing. We've seen how volatile Fall Guys can be, and defending champion doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best at all. You can get knocked out in that second round just as easy as anybody else. We saw that last time. So, you know, Gas definitely going to be a team to watch.
Oh, so close.
I'm sorry, just the first sound that we hear is a big oof, and that's a mood.
That is a mood, all right.
Also, I just want to point out that Crazy Train and Royal are within 4 crowns of each other, despite both having nearly 1,400 crowns. That is pretty cool to see, honestly. The sheer like similarities between their play.
Honestly, yeah, and like the team chemistry, you know, the team chemistry is there for that team for sure. They're all coming in. You know, these race games, you don't see players have very much difficulty with these race games, but it's pretty early, you know, it's pretty early in the tournament. Maybe they haven't, you know, some of these players might not have done their stretches, their warm-ups. So who knows? We might see an upset in one of these.
I mean, Gate Crash is one of those levels that you always feel going into it, yeah, you're fine, and then you just catch the bad cycle where it sort of just does the wave and progressively goes up, and you just sometimes don't have the right cycle to jump through. And, you know, I've definitely seen competitors get messed up and tripped up and potentially even be eliminated from this, so it is still a little worrying. You can't just assume it's going to be an automatic qualifier here.
For sure. For sure.
What a ragdoll.
And now we're taking a look at the last of our 4 matchups in Group 4. This is Dancing Triangle versus Bulbous Boys. Bulbous Boys, obviously, Drew Crew, Lustrous. or Lustrous. They've been in this tournament. They've been in Fallapalooza for a little while now. They've been in Fall Guys tournaments for a while now. Really heavy hitters versus some Super Mario Maker greats. That'll be a matchup to watch as well. This is the whole first group is just heavy hitting.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy intense. On the topic of intensity, though, we have maybe a not so intense round of Jinxed going on right here, as everybody's just kind of sitting in the middle of the spitter here on gas. But
what else are you gonna do? You know, it's Jinxed. It's
well,
Jinxed.
I mean, I
prefer
prefer to be on like the day on Deiaphase approach of just kind of getting grabbed early, running through, and just tagging everybody. I like to count how many people, feel good about tagging 6 people, because I'd rather sit there being aggressive than sit there and hope that my team can actually grab people.
It looks like Yellow has got a dominating lead right now, but with Jinxed, anything can happen. You can see it's already starting to creep a little bit back.
Immediately, they're down.
Oh, crap, we're losing.
They're down suddenly. It's coming down to the wire. There's one red panda running away on the blue team there. Are they going to be able to snag him? Now, here's the thing. When you get Jinxed this early, it's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember I had a Jinxed. I remember, like, in my game 1 last Fallapalooza, I remember specifically telling my Sleeping Bear and my teammate, and I was like, yeah, if we get Jinxed round 1, it's just a best of 2 at that point. Like, why worry about it too much? Worst case scenario, it's like a 35 kudo difference between you and, like, the other team, which isn't going to amount to anything there. And here it is, speaking of best of 2, that's what we're going into.
That red panda was able to just slip out of their grasp. Well, that's just how it goes sometimes. And
yeah.
That just kind of eliminates their first episode. It's going to come down to basically 2 games instead of 3.
You hate to see it, but again, at least it's now instead of, game 3 when it could have actually amounted to something more serious.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at Heaven and Heck right now. Deiaphase looking absolutely stunning today. Possibly the most accomplished player in Kitty Powers Matchmaker, says Kitty Powers herself. So there you go. Choose your fighter. I will always choose you, Deiaphase. Absolutely.
Making me look bad with how good you're looking.
yeah. He's looking just fabulous right now.
Yeah, he's really putting my look to shame.
Absolutely. And then we go down to Birdo, and Birdo, I actually remember his gaming achievement. 100th win was a Fall Mountain double crown with me. I remember this happening. Yeah, we were just like both ran up the mountain. I was just streaming on my regular days. 100th win, double crown on Fall Mountain. You don't see that every day, folks.
Yeah, it's very rare to see that. I mean, with my 900 hours on this game, and I'm sure your similar amount of time, you could probably say you've only had, a handful of double crowns on Fall Mountain.
Yep, that's for sure. We're going to take a peek over at Muchas Gracias, and facing off against one another now on a rollout, and it's just a vanilla rollout, but, this is where you kind of set the precedent, right? It's the first episode. You don't have to be risky if you don't want to, but maybe you catch your opponents on their heels. Maybe, I do have Chloe in the booth with me right now.
I'm going to be disappointed if I don't see some aggressive plays out of these competitors.
Chloe has a reputation, ladies and gentlemen. She likes to go heavy on the hands, and she likes to try and push people off if she can help it, Yeah,
so, never give them a second to breathe. I'd rather a lot of the people are so focused, especially in the round 1 game, early parts of the episodes are just focused on qualifying, staying alive, that sometimes the mental moments that you kind of just lose, that lapse, you're not going to pay attention to maybe the fact that there is somebody right next to you. So it's always worth it for me, I think, to try those moments.
Everybody gets in there, no problems. But brand new to Fallapalooza 3, ladies and gentlemen, Snowball Survival. Now, we haven't seen how players kind of stack up against one another in a tournament setting in this game. There hasn't really been an opportunity to present itself. So I'll be really interested to see if any teams do any sort of trickery in this game mode. I'd be really interested to see if people are trying to keep the snowball right in line with one of their opponents so they can knock them off the stage or something like that.
And we both made it.
I could see it being a case for some of these more established duo partners, like a Be More Royal and Crazy Train, or maybe a Triumph and KP coming in later on, where I'm sure if they because one of the common tactics in Snowball is that you're going to stand still in one of those spots and just kind of watch for the ball coming. So sometimes you might be able to catch somebody standing still and not moving.
Absolutely. And we'll have to see if they do pull that out. Now, Dancing Triangle is our Super Mario Maker 2 power duo. Beast just says racing Super Mario Maker 2 at AGDQ 2020 was his gaming accomplishment. And, you know, you can't deny that. Getting into GDQ, I've done it. And it's pretty nerve-wracking stuff to go up in front of as many people that watch GDQ. So being able to perform top-level Super Mario Maker 2 gameplay at AGDQ, definitely a gaming accomplishment in my mind. But maybe even better than that, beating Little Curbs in a Kaizo race, Little Curbs being one of the Super Mario Maker 2 legends. So we've got two gamers on our hands, folks.
Yeah, and I mean, even though they are the Kaizo people, they are no slouch in this game too. I mean, we've seen Shoujo and Beast both be in like numerous Fall Manias and past tournaments, so they are somebody.
Absolutely.
Just because they are known for their Kaizo play does not mean that they're not going to be somebody to worry about here.
Look at that play from Parker the Panda, slipping into first place on the tiptoe. And Stella also going to be able to do it. Did somebody get eliminated, or do we all? No, Aortic got eliminated.
Aortic got eliminated. That was not an ideal placement for those stick bonkuses at the end there. You always see like one or two people just trip up at the end, and you know, I don't blame Aortic for struggling on that one. We all have done it.
Yeah, that's honestly, you hate to see that on a tiptoe. You absolutely hate to see it. When you see those bonks, you know that it's going to be really tough. But now team
really tough.
Yeah, Team is in the power seat here. Now, if you go back to the last Fallapalooza, we know this 2v1 situation is not a guaranteed win. Anything can happen. Mr. Kororo can just go Super Saiyan right now and pull out a win still here. We'll have to see what goes down.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I might have won a 1v2 last Fallapalooza on this level.
Yeah. Anything can really go.
Yeah,
anything can still
happen.
You know, NPCs are just as viable, you know, threats as anybody else on the field.
I mean, personally, if I'm Parker or Stella Cat here, my plan is just literally take the full pop, take the whole grab, and just take down Kororo early, and then just leave it to one of your teammates. There's no point of trying to, I think, deal with all the unnecessary potential of just surviving or hoping that they fall before you. I'd rather just take the guarantee, but maybe that's just the aggressive person in me.
No, that's absolutely the right play. But on the opposite end, if you're Mr. Kororo, you have to know that that's going to be on the table, right? So you got to, if I'm Mr. Kororo, what I'm doing is putting as many NPCs between them and myself as I possibly can. You can see that there's a lot of Cupheads and Mugmans in this. It actually would have been really interesting to see if any of the players decided to blend in with the crowd, but nobody seems to be doing that right now. You can see that nobody's getting really aggressive here. Team isn't really going for that grab that you're talking about. And you can kind of hear the strategy from Team They're saying, well, if he doesn't mess with us, then maybe we'll just time it out. But you have to realize that when there's $2,000 on the line, you can't just leave it up to chance. You got to make a move.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have to think that, like, at the end of the day, you mentioned it earlier, both of these competitors on Muchas Gracias have, what'd you say, over 2,000 crowns each. Like, these are people that you're going to have to watch out for and be careful for. So being able to take it, there you go. Parker goes exactly what you're talking about. So you see right there, that's definitely the best play that you can have going forward for yourself. Take that 50-50, take them out, and then Stella Cat now just has to survive between these next, like, 5 other beans here.
That's right. So they just got to keep the jumping going. All that Stella has to do to take home this first crown, and not only that, but upset our #1 seed in the tournament, ladies and gentlemen, is survive against all of these Cupheaded Mugmen. Just got to keep jumping it out and hoping that they make a mistake.
Yeah, and you can actually see right here as one of the Mugmen go out that Stella is actually sitting there at the back half, wherever most of those people were playing to the front, really giving themselves the most space to avoid getting hit by another bean.
That's right. And while they're jumping, let's go ahead and take it over to this Royal Fumble here. Dancing Triangle versus Bulbous Boys. Shoujo has the tail. Beast has the tail. Oh, but Lustrous at the last second.
Lustrous grabs it last second and is able to hold on. Oof, just barely got through there. That's Royal Fumble for you. Nobody wants it.
Everybody can attest to that. You know, Royal Fumble always ends exactly that way. Everybody clusters all in a big ball. You just have to hope that you were the last person to grab before the timer runs out. And Lustrous taking it home for the Bulbous Boys.
Yeah, that's going to be a really key win for them going forward there. It's definitely going to probably be some momentum shifting in their favor because that was extremely close and that ended up going literally anybody's way at the end.
Now look at this. There's only 2 Cupheads left against Stella here.
I think we figured out who's better between Cuphead and Mugman, as there's no Mugmen left and 2 Cupheads.
Mugman proving why he's player 2.
Probably have, like, I'd say a minute and a half left, roughly, I'd imagine at this point.
Kind of based on the speed, I think you're right here. Just got to keep your cool, keep your calm. You know, Stella's probably timed out a bunch of these in the past, so it's just a matter of not losing your temper, not losing your cool, and just keep on jumping.
And again, you see Stella, like I mentioned before, sitting on this blue platform alone, where the other 2 are sitting on that yellow one. So they have plenty of space to work with, going back and forth. And it's not like they should really be worried about a desync or a kink from one of these other beans here.
Now, the only thing that makes me nervous is that if they make a mistake, now it's just a 1v1 situation.
Let's go! Yes! Oh, yes!
Oh, there it is!
There it is! And just like that, Team takes the first game against, one might say, definitely a favorite to watch out for in Muchas Gracias. So this is huge for Stella Cat and Parker the Panda here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's take a look at these guys. Another very coordinated duo, by the way. Stella Cat's gaming accomplishment, I am Cat. That's it. That's it. That's
yeah,
the tweet.
You know?
That's the tweet.
You are Burb, they are Cat.
Now, look at these crown counts. So we're talking about how Muchas Gracias has over 4,000 crowns. Stella Cat, Parker the Panda coming in at our bottom seed in the tournament with 93 and 121, but still, Fall Guys proves it's anybody's game, and these guys came to play just as much as everybody else did. And they're coming off with an early lead in this first here episode.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, a lot of competitors, you'll hear them talk about it, where at the end of the day, your crown count only means so much. It's just a matter of like playtime. There's just a certain skill cap that you're all going to reach after a certain point, and it's just any given day at that point with Fall Guys.
That's right. And look at this, Wolfgang versus the Legends now we've got on our screen for a jump showdown. And you can see Stratosphere is just going full just grief mode on the other beans, and
actually,
now it's a 2v1 situation.
Yeah, with just Palillo here, because it looks like Stratus is spectating, and this is going to be a little bit wearisome for them, as they are the only 3 left here.
I can.
So somebody's coming away with the crown today. Is there going to be a double crown? No! The full grab by CVH means that Icarus takes home the crown and the bundle of kudos that comes along with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly not the worst play in general, because if you think about it, you're trying to obviously win that, and you're like, obviously that's not the best, the worst case scenario, because what could have ended up happening is you go for that grab and you end up dying, and then it's just a double crown opportunity. So at least getting the 50-50 is better than immediately getting yourself into a really deep hole. That's
right. Let's take a look at the Legends right now. CVH, former competitive CCG player, now working in the industry at Bethesda. Their partner on Twitch. They've been a gamer for a long time. Finally stepping into the fray at Fallapalooza. It's good to see them compete and, bring home this first crown in this first episode too.
Yeah, that's huge for them, honestly. Like, I wasn't sure how that last round was going to go, but like, you love to see these people that you might not know stepping in game 1 immediately, putting on a performance to make themselves be a threat further going forward.
Exactly. Teaming up with Icarus, who, absolutely a gamer in their own respects. Look at that picture. That is the headshot of an absolute gamer right there. Highest TESL GO4 point earner overall, more than 30 tournament wins. This guy is a card gamer. He comes to play. Bringing home that, he was the last man standing on that jump showdown, and we're just tabulating the kudos right now to see who's on top, but these guys are going to be pretty happy with the position where they're in. Now, Chloe, we've already seen some stuff in this first episode. It's been some wild action. What do you have to take away from all of this already?
I, for one, am very happy with the aggression we're seeing starting on early. I'm seeing a lot of grabs, a lot of little cheeky grabs, little full pops there, all the good things that you want to see. I think what's really interesting and good going forward is that it doesn't seem like any one team is blowing away the other competitor. Like we were saying before, these are players that at any given moment can beat another, and you're seeing it in the scorecards here as it's not like an insurmountable lead for the other teams to be able to pass off.
Yep, you can see it here, right? Coming in, and the last seed of the tournament, taking the first crown over Muchas Gracias, leading by just over 800 points. Aortec went down in that really unfortunate tiptoe. So, you know, obviously it's not over yet. There's still 2 episodes to make it up, but Muchas Gracias now has to play on the offensive and has to take back that lead from them. But anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, Aortec died early, but at the end of the day, that was on a tiptoe. All you need is another tiptoe and the adverse to happen to the other competitor, and then you're back in it.
Exactly, swing it back in their favor. Now, the 2 matchups that we see on the bottom of the screen, the Legends and the Bulbous Boys taking home those crowns respectively, sitting a nice solid, 700, 800 kudos above their opponents, looking pretty fresh for the first episode.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what's really interesting too, when you look at the one that we haven't mentioned right now with Gas and Heaven and Heck, where that's just a 1 medal difference between them because nobody got that crown. So
Exactly.
we understand it was a jinx that they ended up losing on, but it's going to be really interesting to see this next couple.
Be More Royal, obviously, getting that gold medal in that race, and then they go right to a jinxed, and they all get eliminated. So basically, back to square one, right? And let's take a look at our defending champions here. Be More Royal, Crazy Train listing, Fallapalooza 2 champion as their gaming accomplishment. Goes without saying, these guys worked their hardest to get up. But let's just take a look at Be More Royal for a second. This is the picture that he provided us for our promotion. Ladies and gentlemen, just an absolute charmer. What an absolute lad.
It is something. I will say I haven't been able to take my eyes off of the Abraham Lincoln holding on the shirt. That is, that was where my eyes caught, unfortunately.
You can describe that as one of those pictures that, like, the more you look at it, the weirder it gets,
Yeah, I think that's the perfect explanation of that one there.
And now we got these guys going in to a dizzy heights, and now you see the jinx in the first round, and it's the first game, and you can be like, okay, well, now we just have 2 episodes to make it happen, right? But now you don't want to see that, right? Now you actually want to get through the episode. You want to see that final. You want to get to the end, because that's where the big kudos are going to be. Let's hope that this episode actually does make it that far.
I think if you're Team Gas, you're hoping for that. But if you honestly, I think if you're Heaven and Heck, or at least if I was in Heaven and Heck's shoes, I would be hoping for a jinx again and just take it into a best of 1. Like, I'm 100% would be comfortable saying I'm taking it down to the finals. I'm taking it down to whoever gets this crown here, and we'll see from there.
It's an interesting strategy, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes from like my mentality of I know that I'm confident in myself when it comes to making it to the final or being in the final. I just have to actually get there. So if it comes down to the part where there's not going to be too much of a kudo difference, all that matters is that crown.
Absolutely. Yeah, obviously puts a lot of pressure on not just you, but also your opponents, right? So
yeah, exactly.
I should.
All right.
Oh my god.
Now back over to Muchas Gracias, and
dude, I'm so over
I think everybody qualified.
Yeah,
Everybody
I think
just snuck
Stella
in
Cat
there.
was like 43 or 42. It was nearly a not what you want to see moment for
Yeah, just coming in at the last second. So that's going to be a pink medal from Stella Cat. So, that's what Muchas Gracias needs to bring back those points. So
yeah, I mean, like we already mentioned before, that tiptoe really hurt the Muchas Gracias' points. So any sort of medal difference will always just add up to.
Holy heck! I hope
Absolutely.
That they get top 20.
you can hear Dancing Triangles kind of talking. They really speed ran that level. They were in there, both silver medals for both of their teammates, but bronze medals from the Bulbous Boys. So in both of these situations, the team that lost that crown in the first round making up those kudos a little bit. And now, it's far from over in that first episode, right? If you come into the second episode, you say, how do? You slap back with a crown of your own, then the kudos are going to be what matters, right? And then you're back to square one.
Yeah, and I mean, like, another mentality that I have going into these games is that, like, if you're down in the kudos and these people are probably going to get, like, most of the gold medals or higher medals than you, I have already told myself I get to start. Like, I'm willing to grab them if it means like them not getting first place. I don't care if it's like, you know, the thing that a streamer complains about is getting grabbed necessarily at the start. But if I can mitigate their higher kudo potential by just giving them like a grab early on, I think that goes a long way towards at least not only your morale but also messing with them mentally.
No, I got hit by that one.
Absolutely. Let's take a peek here. Looks like everybody's going to be safe. Birdo Rod's stream just a little bit delayed here, but that was a cheeky grab by Be More Royal there on Birdo, but everybody's going to be making it in just fine.
Yeah, and on the topic of making it everybody in, you know, we're going to have a big fans here, so you know that our competitors are going to make it through here, because when doesn't this one time out?
Stella, you know, very visibly frustrated with getting grabbed by the Mugmen.
The Mugman is going on the hit list. They're going to be on everyone's list. Get them out. I thought that Goose was immediately going to grab Stella Cat there too. Oh, Mugman's waiting again, and there it is.
Oh, that Mugman's going to be somebody that we need to watch out for. Look at all of the aggressive hands that we've got going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going after Stella Cat here. It's not a fun time if you're in their shoes right now.
No, not at all. We can hope that they're able to overcome that if they're stream snipers or something like that. Hopefully not, but we'll have to see how it goes at the end of the day. We'll check back in on that one.
Yeah.
Good luck to Stella Cat for surviving.
I wish you the best of luck. And on the topic of wishing luck here, we have a ski fall, which, you know, this is one of those levels where if you're behind, at least you feel like, okay, I'll just get my points. It's not like I can be punished by the other competitors here. It's just like, obviously ragdolling, desyncing, all of that stuff can impact you, but at least it's one of those levels that you feel most comfortable about just qualifying through.
Totally. Let's go take a peek over at the Wolfgang and the Legends. They're on a fruit shoot right now. CVH getting a little knocked around by the fruit, but he's going to be in. It's going to be okay. Last person in looks like it's going to be Stratosphere. Everybody's surviving. Looks like everybody's in.
Yeah, all of our competitors in the top 8 there. Really good for them. So they're looking like there's a potential for them to get a 3-team game here, which might not be what you want to see, because I think I saw 18 people qualify there. So that one will be interesting to keep note of. But, you know, they're all in right now.
All right. DFA crossing the line just ahead of Be More Royal by the looks of it. I think everybody's going to be safe there as well. Now, this will be interesting. Very large lobby, block party. You don't really see very many grabs and stuff happen in block party. It's really hard to try and eliminate your opponents here, but that doesn't mean they can't try. And you have to remember, Stella has been just aggressively bullied by some of the NPCs in this lobby, so we'll have to see if Stella is able to hold on and survive.
Yeah, and another thing to keep note of is with how big of a lobby that we have right here, desync and like ragdoll flying off the front is going to be something to be really careful for, because when you're stuck in those like tightened corridors towards the ends of things, sometimes, you know, the beans are just going to be flying around, and sometimes your character's just going to go in an unfortunate direction and fall off the front potentially.
Exactly. So, gonna keep our eyes on it here. Yeah, you can hear like the tension you can cut with a knife when you play this game. You know, it's a pretty easy game, but the desync, the other beans, are what make this game as dangerous as it is. Stella Cat just skiing in the back. Oh, we'll get back to that in just a second to see if everybody qualifies. But here's a little tiptoe for you guys.
Come on, Christian, go for that yeet. You're right there. I'm a little disappointed.
The yeet looks very tempting.
Yeah, I mean, when it's that close to the front, well, there's really no downside unless the path is in a complete straight line, and in which case, you know what? Props to that person for being the trailblazer and figuring it out.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Speak of the devil, Stella Cat goes in the slime on that block party.
So the scenario that we were talking about ended up going through. They Fall Guys giveth, Fall Guys taketh for Team O there.
That's right. So putting a little bit of pressure on Parker the Panda. Be More Royal thought he had the path. He just went directly forward on it. And
Royal's out.
Royal is out. But by the sounds of it, it seems like maybe Birdo didn't make it either.
Yeah, I'm gonna think that Berto also didn't make it there, but that's really unfortunate right there for both of those teams there, as it's gonna go down to a 1v1 more than likely going into this final here.
Have to see how that one plays out. In the
Yeah.
meantime, Wolfgang and Legends going into their final game here. 10-person thin ice. Now, I feel like everybody has a different strategy for the beginning. Chloe, run me through what goes through your mind in like the first 30 seconds of a thin ice. What is your strategy? What do you try to do?
My strategy is it doesn't really matter, so I'm gonna do something to keep myself preoccupied. So whether it is pillar making or making the giant gaping ice hole that you have so famously, developed.
Basically biding time and
no.
causing
Yeah,
problems on
exactly.
purpose.
Honestly, though, like I think that the divide of the half is a very solid strategy on something like thin ice there because it really forces people to make decisions. And well, we're humans; we don't really like making decisions. We crack under pressure a lot of the time,
Oh,
so
come
making somebody
on.
pick a
Not
certain
this
side is going to be a
again.
massive factor.
Ooh, and
He's
Crazy
got a
Train
good
is
shot
all
at it.
alone up at the front
Yeah,
here.
that was a beautiful run by Crazy Train there to get that first crown
That was
of
so
that bracket for them.
And despite the 1v1 situation, Crazy Train's going to be walking away from that Fall Mountain a champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The first crown of that matchup.
Here comes Peabody.
Although, again, like with how that game one went and how it was a 1v1 going into the finals there, it's not going to be a massive kudo difference outside of that crown. So it's easily doable for Team Heaven and Hack to come back on that one.
Absolutely, yep. Again, that first episode just kind of got dropped, right? So one more crown brings them right back into it.
Yeah, and you see here, ooh, CVH getting a little grabby towards Stratosphere there. And all these competitors are actually on this like little space right now, as you see. Oh, and both of the legends just die instantly right next to each other.
Both of the legends die instantly. Stratosphere is down. It's up to Paleo now. Paleo joining this bullet in the last spaces.
Ooh,
And he's going to be
he
pulling
gets
away
it.
with the crown. Paleo pulling out the W for his team. Fighting back against the legends.
Yeah, basically.
Now
Yeah,
we're 1
Paleo-
versus 1 on the crowns.
Yeah, that was really good. They were able to break free from that grouping of like 6 or 7 people there and found that one space to cut off that last bulletkin there and immediately was able to keep themselves going.
Domination.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. It
Getting
only
some
We appreciate
donations.
you, Beast.
We appreciate you too, Beast. Yeah, and so does your chat.
$25.
And those
Very
guys
generous.
just finishing up a three-way team game into a 10 qual, probably going to be moving into a final right after this, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, let's take a look at the Bulbous Boys going up against our Super Mario Maker 2 champions here. Drew Crew and Lustrous, these guys are no strangers to Fall Guys competitions. Won first game of Fall Guys beta right as it released. First ever to win a crown, question mark, says Drew Crew. Possibly, who knows? We can't say for sure.
I got no one to fact check it. Maybe some random Redditor who said that they won it with 15 other people, but I trust you, Drew.
It wasn't on video, but they didn't really think it was a big deal, so.
Yeah, exactly.
And top 100 legend in Hearthstone, Lustrous also showing the gaming prowess. One of the cool things I like about Fall Guys is that the community's so diverse and it comes from like all different corners of the internet, of all different gaming types. So
Yeah, I definitely think that Fall Guys definitely, while there is like a consistent community of people who were big speedrunners, you definitely see a lot of different meshes
don't
of
get it.
personality and people coming in.
God.
And on the topic of people coming in, you see
Yeah,
Drew coming in here and taking that Fall Mountain
Yeah,
crown,
no,
really
I think
putting
that's
Dancing
it.
Triangle on the back foot and really making it nearly impossible for them to come back here.
Yep.
Meteora, thank you
2
for
episodes,
10
2
gift
crowns
subs.
for the Bulbous Boys. And yeah, that one's going to be a hard one to recover from, unless there's a double crown from the Dancing Triangle that looks like their Fallapalooza dreams might just be stopped right there. But before we check out those scores, we got one more final to go. It's going to be Muchas Gracias versus just Parker the Panda in a thin ice right now.
Yeah, so you see here, Parker is just on the run because it looks like Aortic is just following Parker. This is when I hate to keep throwing it back to my previous tournament, but like this is when I was in a 1v2 as well on a thin ice, and this is what I was worried about would happen if I was ever in the 1v2 situation where you're just going to have one of the competitors constantly following you, constantly harassing you, never giving you any sort of space to work with there. So, it's looking like Aortic is starting to slowly create some sort of space now that it's coming down, but definitely the one thing that you want to do is just kind of not give them an inch at all and just try to suffocate their positioning.
Oh, an absolutely disgusting jump from Mr. Kororo, and now look at this.
It's just down to a 1v1.
Oh my goodness, Parker makes the bad jump on this one remaining hexagon. Gonna be giving the win to Mr. Kororo to fight back with the points here. Oh my gosh.
You know,
Doesn't get
Parker
any
put up a
closer than that.
tremendous fight there, constantly holding on there. Like, Kororo immediately tunneled onto that. Like, he had to make a gamer dive just to get over there. But, like, oh my lord, was that a crazy intense ending to that round.
I need a clip on that one because I had my eyes on Mr. Kororo. He kind of put himself in a bit of an awkward spot, had to make what we call the gamer jump, essentially, to get from like his small island to the island that Parker was on to clutch the win. That was an insane play from Mr. Kororo. And let's take a look at muchas gracias, our top seeded team in the tournament right now. Back-to-back European Twitch Rivals champions, these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier in the cast here. These are names that if you have paid attention to Fall Guys at the start of like the Twitch Rivals and even in like some of the other tournaments out there, like Kororo is a name that you will recognize. Aortic, a teammate of Kororo. Like, these are just people that have been playing the game since day one and really proving themselves that they are one of the top competitors out there.
Absolutely, yep. I had to face off against these guys in one of Ben's earlier tournaments. We were able to just squeeze out the win, but made it to the finals very handily. These guys know what they're doing. They have no problems just crushing Fall Guys lobbies together and, you know, getting clutch when it counts. I think that's what Fall Guys is all about. It's about reacting to your situations, and they did it just fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's take a look over at the Wolfgang too now. The Wolfgang able to fight back with a crown in that last episode. Now, these guys have been in every single Fallapalooza that we've had, and you just gotta love the coordination that these guys have together when it comes to their, not only just the way that they play, but also their promotional material. Look at this.
Yeah, these two you can definitely tell are friends and they spend a lot of time together as they're constantly coordinating everything, whether it's outfits in game, outfits out of the game, pictures out of the game. Like, these two are people that you've seen consistently together.
Absolutely. 2 times King of Zone Fall Guys solo tournament champion, Stratosphere, showing how it's done, bringing home the crowns when it matters. These scoreboards are going to be looking real interesting, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be really any match that you can say is pretty much like conclusively eliminated here, and you love to see it going into Game 3.
With the exception, of course, maybe being Dancing Triangle. Really,
I
on
don't
the
want to
ropes
call
right
out
now.
one team in particular, but yes.
Bulbous Boys showing a dominating performance. Now, Bulbous Boys got eliminated very first in the last Fallapalooza we had, and they're saying, you know what, we're not going to let that happen again today. 2 crowns in the first 2 episodes of Fallapalooza, putting them in a very comfortable spot moving into round 3.
To be fair to the Bulbous Boys, though, they did lose to the defending champions in Team Gas round 1.
True. It's true. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't hurt. It doesn't sting as bad if the team that beats you in the first round is, you know, the team that ends up winning the entire tournament,
Yeah.
right?
I remember Fallapalooza 1 when Spark and Stewart beat me. I was like, all right, now win it so I don't feel as bad. When Gas won, I was like, all right, win it so I don't feel as bad. That's just my mentality going through there. Win it so I don't feel as bad.
Exactly. So we'll see how Bulbous Boys does moving on. You know, it's not over yet. It's not over until it's over, but we'll see how round 3 plays out for them. And now you can see that all of these matchups have kind of, you know, there's been a bounce back, right? Muchas Gracias versus Muchas Gracias fires back with a crown, and even though it looked pretty dominating from Team in the first round, now Muchas Gracias has the kudos lead because Stella got knocked out early.
Yeah, you can see like the difference in that round 1 and 2 game, not even counting the fact that Aortic got eliminated early, but just like the 510 kudos for not winning comparatively to Parker's 370 there. Like, it is a significant difference between just this overall scoring between those medals that they were earning.
Exactly. And Wolfgang and the Legends both trading crowns from round 1 to round 2, and the difference there, 150 kudos. Not that big at all, really. This round 3 is going to be the decider. It could go any way.
Yeah, that one's going to be definitely the key one to watch out for, as it is very, very close. And as we were mentioning early on, this is one that, while Palillo and Stratosphere are seasoned veterans of the Fall Guys scene, Icarus and CVH are going to be competitors to watch out for, and it's going to be a flip-flop.
You know,
see, we got a PowerPoint here.
It's always a tradition in Fall Guys competitive events to admire the anti-snipe screens that we have set up for Fallapalooza. That one literally just a PowerPoint slide. Parker the Panda,
Yeah.
bamboo, of course. What would you expect?
Yes.
What would you expect a panda to use for an anti-snipe screen?
You remember that episode of SpongeBob where they're in the forest and they're lost and they're talking to the magic conch shell? I'm just picturing this bamboo from that exact episode there. So Panda's just kind of lost trying to talk to the conch shell as to how they can win this game 3 here.
Yep, exactly. I don't think that Parker realizes that he's left his bamboo up, but that's okay. We can
Considering
assume
he's doing those head nods and bobs like he's jumping with it, yeah, I'm going to assume he doesn't realize it.
Yeah, we can assume that everybody will probably be safe in this Dizzy Heights. It is always funny. Definitely has happened to me in the past as well. Just accidentally leaving up my snipe screens going into the games.
There's a lot to think about. You know, sometimes you forget to unmute your audio because you have to deafen the audio as well. Sometimes you just forget to switch the scene. Look, you're focused on the game, not so much doing everything else.
Look at Stratosphere's anti-snipe screen here. But wait, don't snipe us. There's more gameplay up next. Look at this guy. They go above. I love the flushed emoji as well. Just everything about this. Also the pog. He put a pog in the...
We also, Palillo's
Oh,
there
man.
with the little,
Maybe if you get
the person on the screen there. They were some good ones overall.
I feel like I need to up my game because all these guys have got like creative anti-snipe screens that they put together with a little bit of their flavor, and I just kind of put my cat up on the screen, or sometimes I put my face up on the screen.
Yeah, I just go full cam there and talk to chat. I don't really try to put much effort into there, so it's like, maybe I should do something a little more creative with it.
I do love the anti-snipe screens that we get to see. Palillo getting kind of backed into a corner there by the bumper. That was a bit weird, bit awkward for him. But he's going to be making his way over the second to last gate. I think he'll be okay. First round gate crash.
If it was a second round, I would be a little bit more concerned for them, but even then, it looks like they're going to make it through. No problem here.
Yeah, looking pretty good. Yeah, the only thing that can really go wrong with gate crash is if you hit the last wall and you have to do the slide again. That can sometimes put you in a precarious spot, but everybody's looking pretty fresh here. Now, talking about Fallapalooza traditions, not only do we have really fancy snipe screens, but, you know, in Fall Guys tournament, classic tradition, spam this blank to root for blank. Oh, now here's an interesting situation.
Yeah.
I think they might be in the same game.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some Bulbous Boys in the game with the Wolfgang and Legends here, so this will be really interesting and really scary if you're both Wolfgang and the Legends here, as their match is super close and there's an entire other round going on here.
That's right. You can see the production crew is allowing us to see that they are in fact in the same game together. Going into a whirligig, there's two different matchups happening in the same episode, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is really interesting, right?
Like
the Bulbous Boys are in a very comfy spot. It's very likely they'll move on to round 2. But the other team kind of relies on that crown to solidify a victory. The other matchup relies on that crown to win. So that's obviously going to be made a little bit more difficult with an entire other Fallapalooza matchup happening in the same episode, folks.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen this in the past here. I remember in Fallapalooza 1, I think we actually had 3 sets of matches end up queuing into the same game together. It was like Fur's match, my match, and like one other match. So there was like 12 competitors all in the same one, and it was ended up going down to a jump showdown. Most of the lobby was just the people that were left in the tournament, and it was crazy exciting to watch. So I'm kind of hoping to see something like that again.
I sure hope so as well. And just to reiterate, there are some Fall Guys tournaments that have allowed backouts if you're in the same lobby with one another. Those are specifically for squad tournaments to kind of try and even the playing field. Because if you're playing with your squad, you kind of just want to dominate the squads together. But in these head-to-head competitions, anything goes here. No backouts. Everybody's just got to play their game and hope for the best. So
Yeah, which is honestly like a super scary situation to have for like a game 3 situation. But as a spectator and as a commentator, we're just like, hell yeah, bring it on.
Oh yeah, that's the reason that we keep it that way, folks, is so that we get a little bit of intense action for you guys at home.
Ooh, Kororo making that dive as a strawberry came through kind of worried me. I was worried that they might just get swatted back down, but they're okay.
Look at this. We got a fruit roll up. These guys have already done a rollout together, or a roll off. Wait, rollout. Gosh, I always get them mixed up. They've already
Honestly,
done a rollout
they're
together.
the same thing.
Yeah, they're basically the same. But this one, the first one might have been a vanilla one. This one, however, is a 3-wheel fruit roll up, which is the opposite. It is the scariest version of this game that you can get. And all it's going to take, really, for Muchas Gracias or to pull ahead is a sneaky little grief, maybe a little push off the edge, make it a 2v1 situation. You can run away with this.
Especially when it's only 3, like, you're very limited in the space that you can go to, so at any given moment, you might see, like, there is this Triceratops that's just grabbing Kororo here, so who knows, maybe all of a sudden Parker or Stella Cat comes and sneaks up behind them, because you see Stella Cat is just kind of eyeing up Kororo, trying to see if they can get an opportunity to grab here.
Yeah. And, you know, if you're Muchas Gracias, you're going to be playing your safest game possible. You're just going to try and find all of the widest parts of these wheels to stand on, stand nowhere close to the edges. Don't put yourself in a terrifying situation. You want both of your players to make it into the next round.
Yeah, definitely. This one's going on for a long time. I wonder if it's actually going to even time out here, potentially, as there's only one other person that needs to die, but let's see what happens. Oh!
Oh, and
no!
it's Parker the Panda that gets eliminated last.
That is really, really bad for Team there. It's still not out. They are still not out of it, but that is really bad for them.
Stella's going to be in a 1v2. If Stella can pull the crown out, then they could still walk away with the win for their team, but it's definitely looking pretty tight.
I mean, if you're Muchas Gracias and you don't have a team game next, do you just kind of take the L to say, all right, Erotic, or okay, Kororo, you just hold on to them, eliminate both of you, and guarantee yourself going into the next round there?
Absolutely could be a possibility, right?
But as we talk about, they get the team game, so ignore my comment because it doesn't even matter.
That's right. A long-standing rule of the Fallapalooza tournaments, team game griefing is not allowed because we recognize these situations, right? We recognize that if a team is up any amount of points, 2 people just going AFK or throwing the game sets things up
Maybe I should just go
to be a little bit unfair. So we've eliminated that from our competition, and you just have to play team games in good faith. But have a look over here.
Yeah, so it probably
All
is
8
harder
of our
to get
competitors
that.
in this matchup here are going to be playing in a jump club now. Let's see if they all survive.
Yeah, this will be really spooky because you
We're in
need
here
8
with
people to get
another
eliminated, and
lobby,
there's
and
probably
there's
only
eight.
within like 20 to
We're
like
allowed to
24
make it.
people,
This
I'd
is
say,
gonna
that
be-
are alive, and that might even be generous with the amount of people. So there's a potential to see at least one of our competitors go out here.
Absolutely, there is. Now, we talked about that episode that there were 3 matchups happening in the same episode together. All 12 of our players in that matchup made it to the second to last game. That was a wall, guys. And so, you know, these players are really good, and if they play passive, they should all be able to survive. But with a jump club, anything's possible. You know, you throw one little cheeky grab one way and toss your opponents in the slime, and it changes everything.
Also, another thing to keep note of, I know it was a very like 5% likelihood that Dancing Triangle could come back, but with Jump Club, that means there's no Jump Showdown, and Shoujo gets actually ragdolled and knocked up and immediately goes off there. But the point that I was going to make is if you see a Jump Club, you can never get a Jump Showdown, so that had eliminated the point of being able to even get a Jump Showdown in the first place.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Lustrous.
Ooh, Lustrous goes down too.
Lustrous was the one who was initiating all of the aggression.
Yeah, but
Took
Beast is
both-
also out.
Yep, exactly. Taking all of the entire team out. It's just Drew Crew left by themselves in this lobby. Don't forget, with all 4 of the Wolfgang and the Legends playing.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's probably, if you're the Wolfgang and Legends, they probably don't know who these players are. But they have to be thinking about, like, how many of their matchup is still left. Maybe they don't even know that Drew is the only one left.
I imagine if there's somebody who looks at their chat, I'm sure they've been informed at this point of it. Oh, and as we see, the path is being cleared right now on this tiptoe, and who's going to
I got
be
it.
DFA's out.
DFA got knocked off the edge in an unfortunate like desync there, and the frustration you can see is really setting in. So this is a really tough situation. Birdo's going to be going up against Team Gas solo going into this final.
Yeah, at least they still have one person in. It's not like the
Even
worst
if you
case
don't advance,
scenario.
it's still
Obviously,
one
it's going to be a
first
tall order to come back from, but at the end of the day, at least you can say that you can get your person to the finals and see what happens after that.
Speaking of a tall order, Stella Cat by themselves in a thin ice. This is a reverse situation, should we say, from the last episode where it was Parker the Panda versus Muchas Gracias in a thin ice.
Yeah, and you see the same situation happening this time, except both of the competitors of Muchas Gracias are running at Stella Cat the whole time. They have not let go of trying to just not giving them any sort of space, just harassing them, grabbing them, making their life miserable on this thin ice here.
Yep. No breathing room at all. Not even focused on the rest of the match. Just chasing after Stella Cat. Poor Stella Cat's little Tanuki tail running away from both of these guys. And you can see that chaotic strategy of just running in just random erratic patterns is tearing up this thin ice into a kind of an incoherent mess. There's no real pattern to it. You can see that the holes that are starting to form are very erratic, splitting the stage up into a bunch of very weird different chunks. It'll be interesting to see how it kind of plays out.
So if you're Muchas Gracias right now, one of the things that you could end up doing is actually just trying to carve out a section for your teammate, and then just kind of, once you know that they're alone, just start running out the rest of the space and literally just giving Stella Cat no room to breathe right now. Ooh, Stella's got...
Stella's got a little bit of space by themselves over here. Let's see what happens. Just a little bit of breathing room. Stella's the last one alive.
Oh no,
they get
the wizard
eliminated.
gets it. Oh, that was
NPC.
such a good performance by Stella Cat, though.
And again, a very close situation here. Very, very, very like down to the wire, right?
I mean, I don't know if I threw this time.
And also, it looks like this episode is done over here. Who was the winner? Oh, it was Palio. We must have missed the finals here.
Looks like it was a thin ice there, actually, as Palio gets the crown there. So that'll pretty much cement them going into the next round, as the Wolfgang will just narrowly be able to pass.
Look at that.
Oh, who saw that coming?
Yep. I think that's going to be what the Wolfgang needed to move on. We'll see the points in just a moment.
Topic of moving on here, it just ended up being Crazy Train and Royal at the end there. So I think Crazy Train just took the L, said let's move on, and they were going to be seeing Gas making it into round 2 as well.
You can see it on Birdo's replay. Birdo's screen was just a little bit behind, and Crazy Train took no risks, just shoved Birdo into the slime and said, "This is our episode to win now."
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate, but I mean, at the end of the day, this is Team Gas we're talking about. These are very, very consistent competitors. These are people who know their win conditions. These are people who scrim their practice. They know what the best case scenario for them going forward is, and they're not going to be afraid to make those moves.
That's right. That's right. Obviously, very strong competitors, and at the end of the day, you think about how Fallapalooza is formatted. Only 8 teams can make it onto the second day. That means 24 other teams are going to be sent packing in the first day. So even though we have all of these incredibly skilled and talented teams, not all of them can make it onto the next round. And that just goes to show the talent of all of these players.
And I mean, all the props to you as like a tournament host, because at the end of the day, you've brought in more and more talent every time. I mean, this tournament itself, you had 50 plus people trying to sign up for a 32-person tournament. Like, these are going to be more and more competitive every time because there are just more and more people interested in Fall Guys competitive.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. And it goes to the credit of the tournament itself that every single event we've had, there's been more signups. Like, we wanted 32 teams in the first Fallapalooza. I think we got 37 or 38 signups. This time, it was just shattered that. We had over 50 different teams of 2 sign up for this event. So it goes to show that, the longer that the Fall Guys competitive scene kind of keeps thriving, the more people get interested in it, and it just keeps on living. And, that brings in new talent, brings in new strategies, brings in new people, and now they're getting a chance to show off their skills. So
I love when my dead games have 128 people wanting to compete in it.
yeah, right? You can never really believe what Reddit or Twitter has to say. And here we are. Take a deep breath, chat. We have a peek now at our final scores for the first group's round 1. And, I think that the results that we're seeing here are nothing of a surprise, considering how those last episodes went. Aortek and Mr. Kororo were kind of banking on that NPC to win, and it really would have made the difference if Stella was able to hold out and get that crown. That would have been just enough kudos to squeak him over, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's, very unfortunate for them, but, again, props to them for, being the last seed, literally taking it down to the last possible second, even beating out like Roro and Aortek at the end there, just ended up having to last that last possible moment to be able to potentially take over the upset there.
Absolutely. And looks like Icarus score isn't coming in, but Palio was able to grab that crown, securing a spot into the second round for Team Wolfgang. And the Legends, they had a good run in that first episode. It looks like that matchup and the matchup between Muchos and they went the same way. The one team came out strong, grabbed that first crown. The other team fought back, barked back, and said, you know what? No, this is our episode to win.
Yeah, and I think that's really the testament to the people who might be more seasoned in the Fall Guys community and tournament experience than people who might not have as much experience. And these people know that when their backs are against the wall, they know what they need to do to come back here, and it showed with.
That's right. And if you guys are unfamiliar with the Fallapalooza format, the first day, the Saturday, what we do is we group all of our competitors into 4 groups. This is Group A that you're looking at right here. Group A is going to play their round 1 matches, and then immediately after, they're going to play their round 2 matches. So we're going to see the matchups right in front of you right here. Muchas Gracias versus the Wolfgang, and Gas versus the Bulbous Boys. Now, those first round 1 matchups were definitely hype and definitely could have gone either way in both of those situations. But now it just tightens right up. And who do you think is going to win out of these 4?
God, I don't even want to take a guess because I feel like we're going to upset people no matter what side we pick on the coin. But on the topic, like, there's storylines to it. Again, like, these are Muchas Gracias has back-to-back Twitch rivals and Europe wins. Bulbous Boys want revenge against Gas. Like, these are storylines that you wish for as a tournament host and commentator to be able to create and talk about here. And they're going to really come down to the end. At least that's what I'm hopeful for.
Absolutely. And, Fallapalooza time, or Fallapalooza stories as well. You have Muchas Gracias in their very first Fallapalooza versus the Wolfgang, who kind of got upset in the most recent Fallapalooza. We're able to make it to the quarterfinals. Going to be looking to repeat that today.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like, all these competitors that are going to be in this next set of games here are people that I've personally have been able to watch, people that in the Fall Guys scene, and any of these people that make it through are going to be deserving of playing in day 2.
Absolutely. And yeah, you mentioned the Gas versus Bulbous Boys, aka Drew, the Crew, I guess is what they were known as in the last Fallapalooza. This is a matchup we've already seen. These players have been in so many Fall Guys competitions, not just, against each other, but just in general. And there's going to be a rematch here. Now, in the first Fallapalooza that they faced off against each other, they were in the first round, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was a first round pairing of those two teams together. Now it's a second round. The stakes are higher. What do you think that means for the competitors?
Well, again, like, I think that there's going to be a chip on both competitors' shoulders there because, again, you have the defending champs, and then you also have the Bulbous Boys going there. And it's one of those things where one team has the weight of, hey, we're the defending champs, and the other team has, hey, we nearly took this team out in the previous time. We know we can do it. We just have to have things go a little differently this time. So both of them are going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder here and a lot of weight, just sort of resting on them.
Exactly. And let's take a look again at our defending champion team. Team Gas. Again, the penultimate. Is that the right word? I will just say first. How about first? The very first and only Fall Guys Esports Association. And these guys are leading the charge on that. Team Gas. Be More Royal, Crazy Train, FallapaTWOza champions. Be More Royal's also completed a perfect match blindfolded, which, I mean, that is kind of astounding, to be honest.
Yeah, that I don't even know. Like, are you doing that solo? Do you have like Crazy Train in your ear telling, "Hey, walk forward"? Like, I don't know how you do that one there.
Seriously, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. Or it'll be interesting to see how this matchup, I mean, plays out against the Bulbous Boys, who very dominating performance in their matchup against the Dancing Triangle here. So over 2,000 crowns between the two of them.
Drew yeah, Crew. And I mean, Drew's image there, like, and that said 997, but I know that Drew is already in like the 1100s right now for crowns, so that is even higher than what that picture even represents right there.
Exactly. And look at Lustrous is actually using their promotional art for Fallapalooza as their anti-snipe screen right now.
Speaking of promotional art, let's do a quick little shout out for Dan, the man who makes all of the amazing art for Fallapalooza here.
You bet. Everything you see on the screen, basically, the Fallapalooza, the transition that you're seeing flashing before your eyes here, the logos, all the snipe screen, or not all the snipe screens, but Crazy Train, actually. Speaking of which, Crazy Train's promotional art, the train that you see on the screen, that was also done by Dan. Dan Ovlak, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, he knows a thing or two about how to make things look pretty.
Graphic design is his passion.
It is his passion.
Yeah. But honestly, I was actually even going to comment on that icon that Crazy Train has, like the gas logo built into the train at the start. Like, that is just, it looks really, really nice. And I am a big fan of that. I've been waiting for a moment to talk about that because I just wanted to bring to attention how nice that looked.
Yeah. Dan is kind of like a hidden gem in the Fall Guys community. And he created this just gorgeous like 30-second video when the Dark Knight contest was happening on Instagram. He put together a video, just all the music was done by him, the graphics were done by him, and he put it all together. This guy knows his stuff. Much love to him, and he is stuck around the Fall Guys community. He obviously plays the game a lot himself, and he has done a lot of the promotional material, not just for my tournament, but maybe for some other things coming up in the future.
Yeah, there might be something coming up in the future, perhaps. I don't know if you're trying to tell me to talk about it, but I mean, if you want me to, yeah. So Dan is also helping me with my own tournament that I'm going to be hosting, and actually signups are going to be the day after Fallapalooza ends. So on Monday, signups for my tournament called the Fallaceum, which is going to be a solos tournament being done, and Dan is also helping out with all the graphics there. So you're going to see the same amazing art and transitions and all that fun stuff coming in for that one.
Yes, indeed. And we've got Gas and Bulbous Boys going now, facing off against each other in round 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Can we just talk about one moment? I don't know if you were watching Lustrous there, where he kind of just stood still, knowing that the perfect angle for that pull to hit would launch him directly in front of all the spinners at the end there. Like, I've always just tried to go on the left side, but I've never seen somebody just like stand still and know that it's going to land exactly there.
And got some music on the streams there. So we're just going to have to transition over to the Bulbous Boys communication, perhaps. But
probably for the best.
Team Gas getting in the zone.
Yeah. Team Gas definitely likes to listen to their music, kind of give themselves something else to listen to there.
I recognize that name, actually. Recognize the name of
yeah.
the Cuphead.
But it looks like all of our competitors are going to make it through this whirly gig, no problem, really early on. I mean, it's not like it's really anything to not expect, especially out of competitors such as the caliber of players that we have here in terms of Bulbous Boys and Gas. So we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of people just, making it through, making it not only through, but if you see a bronze medal out of one of these competitors early on, you know that they had a bad run.
Absolutely, yeah. hearing from the chat that maybe a Cuphead did the out of bounds trick on this level, so we might have a certified gamer in our lobby.
Yeah, might be somebody to watch out for. Hopefully they if they are somebody watching, maybe they would be kind enough to potentially not have any interference going on here, but you know, if not, hey, there's a gamer, it's going to make it even more exciting going into that next round.
Thank you. Let's go.
That's right. That's right.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. There
All
you
these
go.
guys
You know,
are
couldn't
in.
have said it better myself, Drew. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to get into the minds of these players because this is, again, a follow-up matchup of the last Fallapalooza. And apparently it was in round 2 that these guys faced off against one another. So a literal repeat situation going on here between Gas and the Bulbous Boys to make it into the quarterfinals of Fallapalooza 3.
Yeah, and again, like that last Fallapalooza match that they had there came down to game 3, came down to a jump showdown, came down to the literal ending possible that, you know, it really chose to show that both of these teams could flip a coin and determine who makes it through here. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these next couple rounds develop.
That's right. I can't wait to see it. Going into a Dizzy Heights here, and you know, everybody knows the optimal path. I think the hardest part about Dizzy Heights for a top-level player is other beans in that very first part, because everybody kind of knows what the most optimal pathing is, and everybody follows it. So it's pretty easy, unless you're like the front of the pack, to get really ragdolled and kind of stuck behind everybody. But you can see,
ooh, Crazy Train going with a little cheeky little grab there. You love to see it.
yeah, you can hear Chloe's just like, you just like frothing. She's like, yes, give me the aggression, please.
Yes.
More of it.
Because like at the end of the day, this might actually be a medal difference between them potentially because of that play.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, wasn't able to stop Drew Crew from getting the gold medal, but following in behind with the silver, you can see Lustrous is getting kind of caught up with the wrecking balls here now. And yeah, that's definitely going to be a bronze, maybe even a pink medal. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, so that little grab there made a huge difference moving in, and that's what you just love to see. If they didn't end up getting the bronze, so that gold medal pretty much just gets negated here as going into that next round. Both of those medals all just kind of equaled out to each other.
Right. That's right. Taking a look again at the bracket over here. Muchas gracias and Wolfgang about to start their first episode of round 2 as well. Now, this is a matchup we obviously haven't seen before because Muchas Gracias making their Fallapalooza debut. Now, we saw them drop a crown. Both of these teams actually facing up against each other right now. They both dropped the first crown in the first episode of their first matchups. Do you think that the rust is there, or do you think the nerves were there maybe, that maybe they just weren't able to clutch it out? And how do you think that these teams are going to face off against each other now?
I don't necessarily think it's nerves as much as like, you know, I couldn't tell you personally as somebody who isn't familiar with possibly the EU competitive scene, but I couldn't tell you the last time I saw like Kororo and Aortic in a tournament. So, you know, maybe it just takes them a second to jump into things. Maybe it just, they had to realize, okay, no, we're into the game now. Just kind of slowly build up that, you know, all right, we're here, we're doing it, we made it through the first round. Now all like that feeling is gone. So I can see that being the case possibly for them. And then, you know, Polillo and Stratus, at the end of the day, it's also with Fall Guys. One of those games just sometimes just doesn't go your way.
That's fair. Yep, you have a good point there. Now, Jump Club, 2v2 Jump Club, 12 to eliminate. Do you think we're going to see any grabs? We saw Lustrous get rid of both of the dancing triangle in the last Jump Club that they did. Are we going to see a repeat performance here?
I don't know about the repeat performance, not to speak down on you know, people that I am friends with in terms of Shoujo and the Beast, but at the end of the day, these are the defending champs here, and I think it will be a little harder for Lustrous to possibly get both KOs here.
You don't want to be too risky, you know what I mean?
But risky ends up being the word there as Royal falls off and puts it in a 1v2 for the Bulbous Boys here.
Yeah, if you're Drew Crew and Lustrous, you got to be looking at this and just with a smile on your face. You got to be super excited to see that happen. 2v1 going up into the next games.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting for that to start up, we'll take a peek over at this other matchup here.
Yeah, so they're just getting into their first game here. So they're getting into a hit parade going on. And I really wouldn't see anything too unexpected here. This looks to be vanilla outside of like the thick Ponkus there. So there's nothing too crazy to be going on here. If our competitors all don't make it through, as in like the first like 12, I'm gonna be a little surprised.
Yeah, you don't really expect Hit Parade to be a, a killing game of any kind. Like you expect yourself to be able to move through those pretty all
Yeah.
right. So we'll assume that everybody qualifies from that
But on
pretty
the topic
safely.
of a killing game here, this is kind of what you want to see possibly if you're Gas and Crazy Train, as Snowball Survival is the level that we're getting into here.
Yep. Again, we've spoken a little bit about how this game works and maybe the possibilities that this game has. Maybe there can be some griefing strategies here. We've not had a duos tournament face this game yet. We haven't seen a duos tournament face off in Snowball Survival, and you can see Lustrus's strategy is just immediately go after Crazy Train and just get your hands all over him, grab him as much as you can, and see if you can maybe just catch him in a position. And a full grab from the Bulbous Boys maybe isn't the worst idea. You full grab, you both get knocked off, you leave your teammate to go into the finals and maybe get a crown.
Yeah, I could see you going for that in maybe like the last like 10 seconds or so if you have that opportunity, because last thing you want to do is do it with 50 seconds left, and then all of a sudden your teammate takes a bag ragdoll and it doesn't, and all of a sudden they're out. Just like, ooh, speaking of almost out, as we see Lustrous taking a little bit of a hit there, but it ends up being okay, and all three of our competitors make it through.
Yeah, Crazy Train took a hit right near the end there as well, but all of our competitors are safe, moving on to the next round. And now, a 2v2 on the rollout. Muchas gracias. They've just been seeing rollouts all day long.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they just start complaining about how often they're going to be seeing it here, because I know personally, in terms of tournaments, rollout feels like an entirely different beast in a tournament than it does actually when you're just casually playing it. Like when I'm casually playing it, you're singing the "Fi Die Die Die" song, but on the topic of death, oh my lord, Aortic fell off.
Oh, what
So,
happened?
I think he was on a little bit of a slant there, and he tried to walk up, and he kind of just walked himself off the edge there. So all of a sudden, it's a really good position for Wolfgang here, and they're going to be in a 1v2 situation.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that rollout to see if maybe Aortic is able to, or sorry, Mr. Kororo is able to change it around, maybe switch up the tides of battle here. If he can push off one of the other players, then he's evened it up again.
Yeah, and you can see you have Stratosphere over there kind of just sitting next to Kororo, trying to see if there's possibly an opportunity to go for one of those players.
Only one more to eliminate now, so if you're going to make a move, now is the time.
Yeah. You really got to start working, but it looks like it's not going to matter, and all of our competitors are going to make it through here.
A 2v1 situation for Wolfgang going into the next game. You got to feel really good about that if you're the Wolfgang.
Yeah, especially going into a game one. That's going to be a huge, like, breath of fresh air. Huge, all of a sudden, like, yeah, you're feeling good. You're feeling confident going through this next round.
That's right. And over here, Gas versus the Bulbous Boys. If you're the Gas team, you got to be kind of groaning a little bit. A team game, basically just a pass into the next game. A reminder to everybody at home, we're not allowed to throw team games. Just to keep the competition moving and fair. We want to see those finals. We want those hype moments. So no sabotaging the team games is allowed in the Fallapalooza tournaments.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely the way to go moving forward with team games. Is like, it's one of those things where the last thing you want to do is have a team game just be thrown, and that's the reason you lose, because two people trying to actively sabotage your team game really does make a huge impact, especially if you get into like those lower numbers. Like, for instance, if you got like a Penguin Pursuit and it's 2v1, it's one of those things that you're just like not looking forward to that.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now, Block Party is a game that, it's another one of those waiting games. It's another one of those, kind of just waiting for the time to finish kind of games. It's really hard to manipulate this game, but we've seen it. Muchas Gracias was able to eliminate Stellacat in the last Block Party they did. Muchas Gracias really seeing a lot of these survival games. So maybe something can happen here. Maybe we'll be able to push one of these guys off the edge. If you're Muchas Gracias, you gotta be doing it. You got to be making some kind of play here. So let's see if it's able to happen. On the other side of the things, though, Gas and the Bulbous Boys, they're going into a final almost definitely here, into a roll-off 2v1 situation. This is going to be intense. Let's have a look here. Reminder, chat, we're the Fall Guys community. We're doing those competitive events. If you've got a team that you want to cheer for, I want to see your spams. Spam this blank to root for blank. Who's your favorite? Team Gas, Team Bulbous Boys. Let's hear it in the chat.
You grabs me, you can trade. Easy trade. Let's go. Watch for the randoms.
You can hear the strategies from the Bulbous Boys already coming into play here. They're already talking about, what do we do? Do we get out Crazy Train? How do we do it? Do we just full grab him, push him off? What is the play here? How do we make the win easier for us?
Oh, and on the topic of an easier win, you just see at the very end there, Stratosphere going off. So all of a sudden, it's going to be a 1v1 for Wolfgang and Muchas Gracias.
You're right. That's going to be interesting to see. 15 qual, so they might have like one more team game or something like that. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes down.
But on the topic of what you were saying before about this roll-off, I definitely think your play here is try to take... The full pop double grab immediately throws off Crazy Train, and they have a beautiful position right now for the Bulbous Boys.
What an incredible play! You know, Crazy Train was doing whatever they could to try and push off Drew Crew there, but just, you know, Lustrous was like, oh, no, you don't. And they both grab them together. Full pop off the side, and now it's a 2v0. The Bulbous Boys are in peak position right now to take home the first crown. And maybe even a double crown if these guys are lucky.
Yeah, this is definitely possible. For those who don't know, two things that happen in this that can happen here is when you two people grab each other at the same grab the same bean at the same time, the momentum actually throws them even further. So that's why Crazy Train kind of got shot out of a cannon there. And then on top of that, they actually on 3.5 slowed down the roll-off spinners so that it's much easier to survive here and hold on to being able to possibly time it out. And as we are going down, it's going to be pretty much a guaranteed one crown here. Let's see if they can double crown it.
Yeah, the only thing that can really go wrong here is if they both hit the slime at the same time and it awards the crown to nobody. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm going to knock on wood because I said that. But these guys are going to be trying to go for a double crown. If they get a double crown...
Oh, never mind.
Never
Lustrous
mind.
decides to eat himself off.
Lustrous said it's not worth the risk. Let's just go ahead and grab the crown and solidify that early lead.
Nothing wrong with that. At least it's a set plus 735 to your team, putting Gas really on the back foot there, really trying to put a lot of fear into the eyes of anybody who's a Gas fan there after the Bulbous Boys take that game one.
That's right. Now, the blue team, a very commanding lead in this Penguin pursuit. So no problems here. Probably going to be seeing the blue team move on into a final, probably with 10 people.
Yeah, I mean, when you can combine red and yellow and you're still double their score, I think you're doing something right. So you see right here, we're just going to be kind of waiting it out here. There's a couple seconds left. Kororo's messing around, having a good time, bouncing on that little spinner there. And let's see, what's the score going to end up being? Will they be able to... Okay, so congrats to yellow and red. They didn't get their score doubled by blue team because Kororo was messing around a little bit there. So, you know, all the props to them. It doesn't really matter as, you know, it was still a pretty one-sided affair there with blue team and red team advancing. So we're going to have 10 people moving into what's likely going to be a final here. So let's see what we get here in a 1v1. It'll be really interesting to see because at 1v1, it really makes things interesting. Ooh, this is what you want as like a commentator, especially in like the 1v1. I feel like you get a hexagon here. This is going to be really interesting to hear. I mean, you see Kororo's win total on that screen there. That is 2,400 crowns. Yeah, they're going to be really, really somebody to watch out for here. And like we're going to kind of like keep our focus a little bit more on Kororo as he's really already doing a tremendous job, just kind of milking that little bit of purple up there. Now he's sitting around on yellow. Just this is going to be someone I definitely think to watch out for in Kororo's favor as he's really already just the last one up on here. And actually, you see Palillo's already down on purple. So while you see Kororo dropping down to blue here, there's still just a lead. And look at him doing these jump dives perfectly, eating up as little space as possible, maximizing how long he sits up there.
It's not going to matter, as you can see underneath him, Palillo eating up the very last of that purple layer. And now it just comes down to the orange layer, and they're both on it. They're both trying to carve out a piece for themselves.
Ooh.
And this is really interesting. This is the first hexagon that we've seen all Fallapalooza, folks. Can we get some hex go in the chat if you've got the emote handy? I want to see it. And it's a 1v1, which is even more interesting. There's been a lot more eliminations in this Fallapalooza than I've seen in the past, and it's been very surprising.
Yeah, definitely. But on the topic of the 1v1 here, it looks like Aurora is getting the better end of it, as he is the only one on this blue here, and he looks like he's definitely got a path to work with for himself. So he's going to have a lot of space to be able to maximize around here. I think he knows. He ends up being indecisive and not knowing where to go and falls down to purple. So it's just going to come down to both of these big gamers falling down to yellow, and Kurora's getting cut off. He spins around to make sure that he has himself space, but he's getting pinched, and he's going to not really have a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, he's getting cut off by this cactus now. So now it's down to the blue layer. It looks like there's just a little bit of space for Palio to work with. Palio's going to go one way. Kororo's going to go the other way. Does Kororo have enough space, or is Palio going to be able to hold on to this one? It comes down to these jumps, and you can see these players are just... Oh,
Kororo, the gamer jump pulls it off.
Kororo makes the perfect jump. We saw it in the second episode of the last matchup. We see it again here, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Kororo pulling away the win for his team. What an absolute legendary play.
That is the reason why they are the 1 seed. That is the reason why Kororo has 2,400 crowns. Kororo pulls off an amazing play, really just confident that whole way through, navigating the path. Even with that little slip up on the bottom yellow, they still make it through no problem. It looked like it was always his to game.
And it just goes to the intuition, right? I say this a lot. Fall Guys isn't a game about trying to learn how to be the most precise in your execution. It's about reacting to the situations that you're given. From my perspective, what I saw there was Palio with more space. But Kororo said, you know what? If I don't eat up all the tiles that are near me and instead make this very risky jump across the way, then I have more spaces. That's what he did. He wins the episode. He's going to be bringing home the crown for his team, despite losing his teammate early in the roll-off.
Yeah, I mean, all the credit to them. Kororo definitely just, never... He had the ice in his veins. There was never really a worry whatsoever. Kororo knew that he could still win that, and it really showed there, as even though he lost his teammate early on, it did not matter at all.
Absolutely. Yep, the crown is going to bring the kudos up for his team, It's going to be the difference here. You can see as we pull the scores up, Aortic with only 155 kudos, but Mr. Kororo balancing it out with a 175. So they've got a pretty commanding lead, probably about 600, 700 kudos over their opponents.
But even on a topic of an even more commanding lead, Bulbous Boys here with more than 1,000 kudos lead going into game 2 here.
Yep, and that you have to think about how Be More Royal got eliminated on that jump club, right? That is what made the kudos gap as big as it is and allowed Drew Crew to kind of bring it home. And now, we've been talking about this matchup. We've been talking about this rematch from Fallapalooza 2 in round 2. Team Gas, our defending champions, are on their heels now. They have to kind of pick up the pace and fight back in order to catch the Bulbous Boys.
Yeah, it's definitely a scary spot to be in, especially because we've already seen Lustrous be this aggressive player to really eliminate people. Not that he has to, as much as just guaranteeing the win condition. So it's one of those things that I think if you're the Team Gas, you're starting to sweat a little bit here, even though you still have 2 games to go.
That's right. Yeah, we still have 2 games to go. Anything can happen here. Let's take a peek at our sniping screens. Me making sure you're not sniping. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
I love the creativity.
I forget I think it's from that that YouTube viral video that series that went 2-3 years ago or something like that. No Luca, or not no Luca, but it was that little baby singing or something like that. I think that's what that's from.
Johnny, yes, Papa.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
Gonna pull up. Oh, we got some more sniping screens there, it looks like, but yeah, we're gonna transition back over there. Oh, it's just his face. See, this is what I do.
That's a cute little, I like that. Also, can we talk about how Fall Guys decorated this is? This is gorgeous.
Seriously.
I love this.
This guy, yeah. The Fall Guys merchandise is on point. You know, capped off with the Jägermeister. Can we talk about that for a second too?
Yeah, I did not even notice that.
loving the
man.
decor in the background. Also, Aortic himself looking just fine. Painted nails and everything. Yep. Aortic came, you know, he's a streamer. He knows what he's got to do to make himself
Yeah.
look fancy fresh.
Can't tell if that's like a Mickey Mouse shirt that they were wearing because it looked like they got the ears there, but that was just all about. I'm all about Aortic's look there. And then on the other side of things, you got Kororo, really good looking person himself, got the little marshmallow head and the Fortnite llama, all the Fortnite stuff going there.
And right into our next game, Gas and Bulbous Boys facing off in a Tundra run now. 1,000 kudos separates these two teams, and who's out in front? Crazy Train taking first place.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that obviously you're going to be a little happy about it between Crazy Train and Gas, but you're still 1,000 kudos behind, so you're still going to be slightly worried. And on top of worrying, you see here that gold isn't going to matter as Royal ends up having a little bit of a trip up there, and he's going to get a bronze medal and it's going into this after this round one. Just immediate silence. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. Apparently, seesaw in Spanish is balance final, which is interesting.
Yeah, balance. That's the word that everyone needs to learn. Not seesaw. Just learn how to balance these damn things because, God, you'd think after 3.5 seasons, almost 4 seasons, people would know how to do that.
You would think so. You would think so. And yet still, players have troubles. And you can see even our best players have troubles. The giant pack at the beginning causing problems for Muchas Gracias, specifically Mr. Kororo, not able to make his way up, getting sent back to the start.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I was curious if any of these competitors were going to try to do the little death bonk, death warp, whatever term that you want to use for it there, but it looks like all of them are just going to take a very simple path, not try to risk ending up putting themselves even further behind.
And Palio is just showing such a dominating performance today, right up at the front of the pack with this Mugman here. Not going to be able to get the gold medal by the looks of it, but a silver solidified for his team.
Yeah, Polio's playing really well so far, and they're going to be definitely somebody to watch out for. Unfortunate for them, it did not impact in terms of how well they were running because there was just somebody slightly ahead. But, you know, at the very least, both his teammates are going to be taking a nice silver medal.
Yeah, the Mugman just a little bit faster by the looks of things, but
Yeah, and I think we saw Kororo fall in at the end, or it could have been another Bulletkin here, but we have the ski fall coming in nonetheless for the side of Gas and Bulbous Boys.
now it's a race to see who gets that gold medal, right? Who is going to be able to kind of clench enough points to take the gold? And oh, it was going to be Lustrous, but Lustrous gets yeeted off the side, and
However,
maybe
Drew gets it, no problem there.
that's right. Drew Crew with the gold medal, bolstering that lead that they already have just a little bit more.
Really, really mitigating with every round possible any chance of Gas to come back even through with 2 rounds to go here. As you see, Crazy Train is still trying to get himself in 12 out of the 25 there.
First 50%, so that's not a big deal. Probably a bronze medal, though.
Yeah, still a bronze medal. Like, don't get me wrong, bronze medal. They still made it through, no problem. But at the end of the day, they need these medals to just they're down 1,000 going into one game. So it's one of those things that they really need these medals to start adding back up because even a crown isn't going to catch them up here.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, even if they do get the crown, they're still going to be in a position where they're trailing behind maybe about 300 kudos, right? Especially with the medals going in the Bulbous Boys' favor. Gold medal going to Drew Crew. Gold medal going to Drew Crew again in those races. So
Yeah. And then on the topic of gold medals, survival, just survive and everyone's getting gold. So it doesn't even give Gas another chance to come back unless one of these players gets eliminated.
that's true. But I mean, with it being a survival game, that chance is on the table right now.
It's very true. So far, we haven't seen any competitors go there, get eliminated from it. But watch, as soon as I say that, I jinx it, and we lose 3 competitors on this round. So let's see what happens.
Anything can happen, especially if the snowballs start colliding, which we haven't really seen a whole lot of in the snowball survivals yet. What's kind of common is this clockwork or this like counterclockwise running pattern that you're seeing these competitors do. You can see the entire pack is kind of just slowly rotating in a counterclockwise to avoid these snowballs. They're not colliding, so they can kind of just keep running in a circle.
Yeah, it looks like there's. Oh wait, they might collide here. Yep. So they do in fact finally collide and actually start causing a little bit of a scene and a little bit of a little disruption towards the rhythm of the run there. As you see, Luster's trying to get a little cheeky with Crazy Train with those grabs, but it's not going to end up mattering at all. And they're all just going to keep running around.
A lot of the NPCs unable to stay on the stage as a result of these erratic snowballs, but all of our competitors looking like they're going to be holding on going to the next round. Yeah, that cut the lobby in half, probably.
Yeah, it got a little sketchy for Drew at the end as that ball literally like kind of landed next to him, but it looked like it actually did not graze him at all, which was breathing a sigh of relief for him as you hear him even talking about it.
And right from one very
Ooh.
long race game to the other, seesaw into big fans. And now big fans again, we don't really worry about our competitors when we see the big fans. They're always going to be in the top 4. You can see Paleo implementing those warp strategies. Oh, and then getting a little cheeky with the grabs right afterwards. That was very nice.
Yeah, and you, when you heard me go a little ooh before, it was because I think I saw Kororo also grab Stratosphere before, so Stratosphere fell a little bit far behind in comparison to the group there, but it's looking like this Mugman might actually be able to take the first place. This Mugman really being a gamer in this lobby, being a thorn in the sides of the competitors, as neither team gets the first place because of this Mugman.
Anybody know who this Mugman is? Somebody sign this Mugman to a contract. We'll get him on Fallapalooza 4.
I'm probably going to be a free agent next tournament, so I mean, if you know this Mugman, let them know. I might be looking.
Oh, NPC immediately finds the path, and Crazy Train. Crazy Train got grabbed. I'm not sure if that was by a competitor or if that was by an NPC, but it's gonna be another 2v1 situation for the Bulbous Boys.
Such a terrifying situation for Be More Royal to be in right now. We don't know if it was a competitor or an NPC that ended up grabbing Crazy Train there, but it's a 1v2 going into a final more than likely.
Yep, 7 people remain, so it's absolutely going to be a final, a
And it's a hex
hexagon
here.
2v1.
If you're Lustrous or Drew, do you try to just like chain grab, drag Royal down to the last level just so that they guarantee, still having about 1,000 kudo lead going into the game 3?
Honestly, it's hard to say. You know, you don't really want to leave your teammate in a situation where they still have to game to win. You know, maybe you, if you're the lower of the two, then you do make those moves. But look at that, Lustrous with an absolutely just perfect grab on Be More Royal to get him down and trying to get in their way, but this time Be More Royal
makes the gamer jump across again.
Be More
just
Royal
kind of hanging
sidestepped
on.
him. Yeah, Be More Royal sidestepped him, and now down on the purple comes Drew Crew and Be More Royal together. Lustrous poking some holes in the orange layer below, and look at the hands flying here.
I'm getting all excited from this. Definitely one of those things where you can see, whereas they might not be grabbing constantly, as you see Lustrous kind of trying to do that, but they are suffocating out Royal's options to go to here. But Royal makes a fantastic move to get across Lustrous, but now you see Drew immediately running over to try to cut out Royal's options.
Oh, that was actually Be More Royal trying to go for the grab on Drew, but Drew able to squeak by, keep stable, keep calm, and he's up on the orange layer for a couple more hexagons all by himself. Basically, trading responsibilities on the Bulbous Boys here. They're trading responsibilities on who has to be aggro on Be More Royal. And look at it again.
Yeah.
Now it's Lustrous right on him.
These are some fantastic moves by Royal, though, to give him the best chance moving forward. But it ends up not being too much of a issue here, even though he gets that giant space as Drew Crew just kind of runs him around, runs him out, really mitigating any sort of space there. It's kind of just really impressive to watch. Not only their like suffocation towards Royal, but Royal's like Houdini-esque movement to try to get himself away from all of this.
And it's actually really, it's got me on the edge of my seat because no matter what they try to do, Be More Royal is still just keeping a cool head. And then look at all the cutoffs that he's able to do here. He's trying to keep Lustrous out of his space. Drew Crew has a bunch of purple all to himself up there, but Drew's about to drop down.
Yeah. Ooh.
Lustrous with a very good grab to get Be More Royal down in the blue. Blue is all Be More Royal. The other two competitors are on the yellow, and now Lustrous is going to be on the attack.
He's running, he's gunning, he's going for those grabs. He wants to make this move happen. He wants to take out Royal. Is it going to happen, though?
Couple grabs. Be More Royals just trying to carve a slice out for himself now.
Krampus is being a real help towards the Bulbous boys there as he starts running out the space too. Both the Bulbous boys are there, and Royal dies.
Okay, let's try to clutch.
Royal was able to snag him. Lustrous goes down as a result. It's just Drew Crew now. Drew Crew has 2 more NPCs to deal with here. Does he have the space to be able to pull this off?
Yeah, and you can see he's actually carving out that space so that he has that path back. So not only does he have all of this to work with at this edge here, but he also has that path to work around back. So he's got a tremendous lead in terms of the tiles right here if he just navigates himself correctly. Like, all the props to Royal for lasting as long as he did there, but it's just, that is a true 1v2 situation, and the Bulbous boys gave him nothing to work with here.
Yep, and Drew just against an NPC, and you can see the focus, but you can see that it's a numbers game, and Drew is gonna be the one who comes out on top in this
And
hexagon.
there it is. That's going to practically write Team Gas out of here there, as that's going to be about like a 1,700 kudo lead going into game 3.
What an incredible performance, though. Shoutouts to Be More Royal for just hanging on in that hexagon as best as he could. But the dominating performance from the Bulbous boys gives them another crown in this matchup here.
Like, for being in a 1v2, Royal put on a fantastic show there. That was so, like, not only from like a competitive standpoint, but just an entertainment value. Like, you were on the edge of your seat seeing it. Like, is this miraculously going to happen and go their way? On the topic of things going their way, though, is one of the competitors possibly going to be eliminated here?
2 of them, perhaps. We have
Yeah.
still Aortic and Paleo waiting to basically qualify. They're both trying to go for this gamer jump on this gold ring, but neither of them are able to do it now.
They're both grabbing each other. Oh! And it looks like Palilo gets in, so now it's just going to be 1 spot remaining, and Atoric gets out.
I think a Toric is going to be out with that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. Wow.
Mickey Mouse ain't so happy on that shirt right now as we lose one of the competitors on Muchas Gracias.
But look at the smile on Stratosphere's face. He realizes what's going on here. Atoric not able to clinch out the win. So now it's going to be a 2v1 against Mr. Kororo. And there's still another game to play, too. We're not even in a final yet, folks.
Yeah, if you are, honestly, Wolfgang, you kind of like this, giving even more of like a kudo edge. Like, yeah, there's a chance for Kororo to possibly eliminate one, and it's a 6th person, so maybe you lose somebody here, but this could just add up to that total even more.
Let's see your love in the chat, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Spam this blank to root for blank. What team are you looking to move on to the next round? Who do you want to win out of this matchup? Let's see it, folks.
You can see who Kororo gets a little tripped up on the bouncer there, and a Strawberry comes and annihilates him. He's super far back. Kororo might not even make it through here. There's 4 people in front.
Keeps getting bonked.
Yeah.
The berries are giving him some problems. Both
Right, looks
players.
like Kororo's going to be fine, just narrowly making it through there. But that was scary if you're Mr. Kororo there.
Both players, or all the players on the right side, were getting completely just smashed by the berries. So Mr. Kororo squeaking in with a bronze medal. Let's take a look at Muchas Gracias here. Atoric and Mr. Kororo, back-to-back European Twitch Rivals champions on the ropes right now.
Yeah, it's a really scary situation if you're Muchas Gracias right now. Another game going into a 1v2 situation. And whereas Kororo has been able to do fantastic in these 1v2 situations before, it's still not the position that you want to be in if you're the #1 seed going into this tournament.
But, they've clutched it up when it matters, and maybe they'll be able to do that again here today.
Yeah, go for it. I'll hold him.
Yeah, on the topic of, 1v2 situations, you can already hear Wolfgang talking about, I'm going to hold them, They're going to really just try to make it so that they don't get that crown there. And there you see it right there.
Mr. Kororo knows that that's going to be the play, right? So he just starts jumping immediately. And look at this lead now. Look at the lead that the Wolfgang has going into this Fall Mountain. It's just Stratosphere with a couple NPCs up at the front of the pack. If you're Mr. Kororo, there's no real hope for you to be able to get up here unless some big stuff happens at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, especially now that they removed that top hammer at the very edge towards the crown, it's going to make it even harder for them to be able to get that crown.
And as I say that, look at this.
Yeah,
everybody.
Kororo goes early though.
Kororo goes early. Does Stratosphere get it? We'll have to see.
No, the Bugman gets it.
Oh
The
my
really
God, he
thick
might
mug
have it.
man
No.
coming in,
No, I didn't get it.
stealing that crown with that big booty,
Okay.
boxing out any
Oh,
competitor in this
that's rough.
tournament, and an NPC ends up taking that round.
When it gets to like a fall mountain like that, everybody wants to be the one who jumps early to grab the crown as early as you possibly can. All of our competitors went too early. Mugman coming out on top and stealing the crown from both of our competitors here. What
Yeah,
a story, man.
you definitely see that happen a lot, where it's one of those things where you are sitting there waiting for that crown to come down. You're trying to time it, but because of camera angles, you can't really see the crown coming down. So you're mentally trying to clock it in your head, and just you jump a half second too early. And we've all been there. We've all had that happen.
You're right. We absolutely have. When it matters most sometimes too. But, that's a breath of, like a sigh of relief from Muchas Gracias because they dropped Itoric early on. They still have the one crown over their opponents, which means that when the scores are revealed here, you're probably going to see that they're going to be edging out just a little bit over the Wolfgang still.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably like a 200 at most kudo difference. So even though they have the crown, Itoric's multiple early eliminations is really starting to cut into that lead there.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, Muchas Gracias has been playing this very, chaotic game. Like, they obviously clutch it up and get those crowns and get the wins, otherwise they wouldn't be in round 2 right now. But you've also seen both of their teammates go down early in certain episodes in certain games. And, how long is that going to last, essentially? How long until the clutch runs out?
Yeah, so you see actually right here, it's a little more than I mentally calculated in my head, but it is still a super close score for those teams there, as a crown could literally, a crown's going to determine this next game pretty much because of how little this points lead is.
That's right. Just about 300 kudos difference between those two teams. So a crown is all it takes. Another early elimination on the side of Muchas Gracias, and both of the Wolfgang making it into the finals could be all that it takes. There are so many possibilities here with the scores so close, but you look at the other side of the bracket and almost 2,000 kudos separates Gas and Bulbous Boys right now.
Yeah, it's really, really rough for Gas here, as just unfortunate games for both members of Gas, as one time one gets eliminated early, the other one another one does. But you say unfortunate to them. Bulbous Boys are playing fantastic. They look to be, I know we're only in the first grouping of teams, but they look like the team to beat right now with how fantastic they're playing.
Absolutely, yeah. They've just been steamrolling the competition right now. 2 crowns early on against the defending champions. Then in their last matchup, too, you can't discredit how much effort and just how dominating their performance was against the Dancing Triangle as well.
Yeah, I mean, they are blowing up the score sheets with their kudos right now. I think they had 3,600 in round 1, and all of a sudden they're at 35, literally just 2 games in.
And reminder that the winner of these 2 matchups will be playing against each other tomorrow in the quarterfinals.
Yes, that'll be really exciting to see which teams come out of that first round, or both of these round matchups here. Because I am looking forward to watching any of these teams make it through into the next day.
It's just so funny to say.
All these guys have such magnificent snipe screens, but we're getting right back into the action here with a Night Fever.
Some classic Night Fever, nothing to worry about here. I honestly, if you're the Bulbous Boys, you're kind of just sitting there medals don't matter, just qualify at this point. It's such a insurmountable lead that you're kind of just casually playing it. Obviously, you're going to want to you're in a tournament situation. I don't want to discredit Gas at all, but you're kind of just sitting here with not really much worry going into this game 3.
Yeah, just like their first round, they're going into their episode 3 with a very commanding lead. 2,000 kudos is more than the difference of 2 crowns. In order for Gas to come back here, mathematically speaking, the Bulbous Boys have to get eliminated in the next round. And then the Gas has to go on and get a double crown. That is about the only situation where Gas comes back here. But, let's talk about that for a second. Team Gas, defending champions, getting eliminated in round 2 potentially here. Last tournament that we had, Delete Fall Mountain, defending champions, getting knocked out in the second round. It must be the champion's curse or something in Fall Guys. We see this happen a lot.
I mean, you definitely see it in like traditional sports too, where you run into those defending champs. You want to make a name for yourself. You want to make a statement. You're playing your absolute best. And again, on top of them being the defending champs, like we've repeatedly drilled into this conversation here, Bulbous Boys lost to Gas last tournament. You want to make sure to get that revenge game going. So there's a lot going on for them, and I think that they're just playing out of their mind right now, trying to show themselves as last Fallapalooza was just a fluke, and they are here to perform. They are here to compete.
The D-Sync is so bad. And then it counted.
Yeah, little desync on the displays there, but everybody looks to be qualifying their round one there for the whirligig. So
yeah, it looks like this has been a lot of exciting games right now. Even if one of these scores isn't the closest thing possible right now, it has definitely just been like a constant excitement, and none of these games have felt very disappointing to watch from a spectating and commentating perspective. Alrighty, so we're gonna have a whirligig going into round 2 here. 31 qualifying. So honestly, if it's round 2, 31 is kind of like one of the best numbers to see there if nobody else leaves, because 31 is that, all right, you avoided hoarders. Okay, you avoided any like 3-team game, and you can, more comfortably put yourself into the situation where you have like a race game perhaps, or a survival game instead. So you see here, Lustrous ends up messing up the first time going on to through that dive there. And honestly, I mess up that dive more often than not. I might not be the best player out there, but that is a dive that you just kind of constantly will mess up. And despite, you could say you made it 90% of the time, but it still can be rough sometimes. You see Lustrous kind of getting chain grabbed by this dino here.
So they got another gold, and then we got.
But doesn't really matter. All of our competitors make it through top 10, top 11, so totally okay.
I need a speedrunner to guide me. Dangers if you're here.
It's going to be really, really interesting going overall, though. So we'll see as we get a hit parade here. It looks like all of our competitors have made it through the hit parade, though. So both Muchas Gracias and Wolfgang, with that super close score, it's not really going to impact much as all of our competitors make it through into round 3 of this episode.
Stratosphere pulling out some top level strats right now, playing Fall Guys on his Atari 2600. Didn't actually realize that it was released for that console, but here we are.
Kate hit a third button. Not only is it coming on Xbox and the Switch, but now it's on the Atari.
Absolutely, yep. Inclusive cross-play potential across all consoles, across all times. Somebody in the chat asking, is he playing on the Soulja Boy console?
No, he's playing on the Stadia.
Yeah, the Google Stadia, yeah. All right, now episode 3 rollout. What are you gonna do here? You have to make some big plays.
Yeah, honestly, both teams, it's in their benefit to even just try to get a little aggressive and take out that other player. Oh, but on topic of players getting eliminated, we see right there quickly on the passover, Lustrous fell on the slime.
That's wild. I wasn't expecting a slime climb to be the bane of somebody's play here, but that's what we're talking about. Gas needs both of the Bulbous Boys to get eliminated in order to make some sort of comeback here if they're going to try anything. Yeah. So let's take a peek. Let's see what happens here.
I mean, Drew's in a pretty commanding lead here, but it is that fan variant, which could, it is one that you probably see the least. So potentially you can make a mental blunder. Who knows? Maybe they're getting a little confident, but I imagine that this fan wouldn't be an issue for Drew as he just casually runs through it. And yeah, so only one player gets eliminated there.
Yeah, so still kind of a tough situation for Gas, hoping that both of their players are going to be able to cross the finish line. Let's take a little peek over back to this rollout here. 4 out of 13 eliminated. This is a very slow rollout. Nobody's getting eliminated. Yeah, qualifications from both Team Gas there.
Yeah, so 3 out of the 4 players in that round make it through that slime climb here, and I the point that I don't know if I was able to finish because I already forget, but it's honestly in a benefit for both teams to kind of go for that like grab if they have the opportunity for it. But obviously, Wolfgang needs the kudos, and eliminating really helps. But on top of that, eliminating the member of the Wolfgang really puts the cemented into a loss. So you're looking as you see Kororo going for these grabs on Stratosphere here. So it's really interesting.
Come on. Yeah, all these bullets. I wonder who they're with. Like, come on.
You can hear that.
Ooh, that was really close.
Oh yeah, very, very close. Mr. Kororo almost gets pushed in.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a Bulletkin army coming in, grabbing the Wolfgang here. I'm
Wondering,
sorry.
they might be surmising that there are some bullet stream snipers, perhaps. There are quite a few bullets in this lobby. They do obviously block their screens, but we at the tournament do whatever we can. If anybody does get into the tournament,
Kororo
speaking
gets
of
desynced
which,
by a bullet and immediately gets thrown off the side there.
this is really good if you're the Wolfgang. It's going to be a 2v1 situation going into the next game. Mr. Kororo getting desync popped by a Bulletkin.
I don't even think it was a pop. I think it was literally just like a server priority getting bounced off of the person without even like having control of your character. Kind of like how your team had in the Beam Brawl. Like, you hate to see it.
Yeah, just a little, I think it was just desync. That's all it really was.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you're the Bulbous Boys, you want to see the end of this episode. You'd feel pretty good about a game ending right there in that egg scramble. But these players are really good. They obviously got to try and make it to the next round, so you probably won't see them having any problems there. So we're gonna go over to this tiptoe where it's a 1v2. Itoric by himself against both of the Wolfgang. Who's gonna qualify?
And we've already seen Tiptoes be vicious towards our competitors, as we've had numerous competitors already eliminated on Tiptoe, with one of the worst variants to see right now with these triple bonkuses towards the end here, really making it hard to make the appropriate decision and when to move.
That's right. And it looks like the path has been carved. Everybody's in a mad scramble to get to the end.
Itoric makes it through.
Itoric.
In. Now we just need to see if Stratosphere's in.
Yes,
but I think they are.
All three of our players have made it in. Stratosphere just makes the dive into the finish to qualify.
Yeah, that was a little scary, but it ends up not mattering as all our competitors do make it through there. So we're more than likely going to possibly see a finals here. And on the topic of things not mattering, we have ourselves a egg siege, or sorry, not an egg siege, an egg scramble going on.
Yep. Red team sitting pretty comfortable, 25. Blue Koala trying to get the golden egg out of the nest, not able to do so. Gas doing a really good job of keeping the golden egg away. And now here we go, a hexagon, ladies and gentlemen, with 13 people, 2v1 situation. This is going to determine who moves on to the next round. If Wolfgang is able to eliminate Itoric and grab the crown here, they'll be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, it is a little spooky. I feel like 13 is when you start pushing into that number of, all right, it's getting a little too big for my comfort levels. But you see here, Itoric is the highest one up on this yellow and turns around quickly to navigate over to this blue area. However, you have Stratosphere running around and going for the grab, but it doesn't matter. Ooh, what a tremendous dive and recovery by Itoric there.
That was really, really well played. Itoric was able to cut off Paleo and secure the spot on the purple layer just for himself, but it doesn't really matter, folks. Everybody's coming down to this blue now. Stratosphere has a little bit of yellow to themselves, but, you know, Itoric has to play this avoiding game. Same thing that you saw Be More Royal do last time.
I will say I'm really liking these moves here by Itoric, where he kind of takes it slow for a second and then immediately turns on the gas, runs past it, and so narrowly hangs on for these like movements here. But he's down on the blue, very dangerous right now, as you see. Stratosphere is actually on the purple, and their teammate Palillo is down on yellow right now. So this is a really precarious situation if you're muchas gracias.
Yeah, let's take a peek over to this Fall Mountain really quick to see who's able to grab this crown, if anybody.
And it's a bad cycle, as you see. Royal goes off to the side and ends up actually taking it. So, you know, Royal gets it. It's unfortunately a double crown and more was needed there, so it's not going to matter. But at least it makes the scores look closer. As you see, actually, stratosphere going down, but I think we have Palillo coming in for the victory.
Palillo grabs the crown on that hexagon for his team, and I think that might just eliminate our top seed in the tournament, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you can hear the excitement in their voice there. I think we have our first major upset coming in as Muchos Gracias does not end up getting the crown there, really putting Wolfgang into a position for them to make it into day 2.
I think you're right, and you're saying first upset, but I think that if we look at both of these matchups, we've got ourselves a double upset coming here. Our grand champions, even though Bmore Royal was able to grab the crown, you can see on his face, grabs the crown with just no joy because he knows that the kudos are not going to line up in his favor.
Yeah, it's one of those great, I won the battle, but I didn't really win the war kind of situations.
That's right. That's right. There's only so much you could do after getting put down by 2,000 kudos in the first 2 episodes, right? You're basically just trying to carve out a situation for yourself, but it was too little too late.
Yeah, I mean, all the props to the Bulbous boys. They played beautifully, even though Lustrous died early on. That the aggressive play, the suffocating of the competitors, it wasn't. They obviously you went into that knowing it was a 1v2, but their just ability to literally take that inch and go a mile with it past the competitors that they were against was beautiful.
Yep. And Itoric just not able to hold on in that hexagon. And Palillo coming out with the crown here. So, like I said, how long is this kind of clutch play going to be able to continue for Muchas Gracias? Because, one of their players was going down early in all of these episodes, and it came true again here with Mr. Cororo not making it in to the finals to help his teammate out. So,
yeah, and that one you gotta feel for Mr. Cororo there, because that one just literally a little server priority, a little bit of a desync bonk, and it was you all as a competitor have had that situation happen before. You hate to see it, especially when it comes to being the difference in pretty much how your team makes it or breaks it in a tournament.
Exactly. And it's going to be the difference here. We're going to see in the scores just how much that plays into our situation. So, but wow, what an incredible second round. I don't think I could have really predicted how this went down, to be honest. Obviously, all 4 of our teams in this round 2 were exceptionally strong, but just, not everybody can make it on to the next day, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can say maybe you predicted the outcome there, but you don't predict the outcome the way that it came to both of these games there. Like, it is like how close that first game was, how dominant Bulbous boys were in those first couple games there. Like, it's just Fall Guys. It's beautiful Fall Guys play.
It absolutely is. And it's very exciting to watch. The hexagons that we've seen so far in this competition have had me on the edge of my seat.
All
I
these
just
people
can't wait
getting
to
their
see
hex
more.
trial practice really paying off here.
That's right. That's right. And we're just waiting for the scores to roll in right here. Just a couple of pieces missing to our little puzzle, and we'll be able to present you with our scores right away. But let's talk about the gameplay right now. This has been the story of Group 1 for me. Let's talk about the gameplay of the Bulbous boys, because these guys, I think that Drew and Lustrous have both been in so many Fall Guys competitions together, and they have played as hard as they could and played as to the best of their abilities as much as they could, but they just haven't been able to kind of break that ceiling. They haven't been able to puncture through and prove themselves in any of these tournaments. They've made it far, but they've fallen short. But look at today. Look at the performance today, and look at how dominating they're playing.
Yeah, Drew is definitely like one of those people where, I mean, you see it literally in their fun fact there. They won possibly the first ever crown on Fall Guys. They have been in the scene for the longest time possible. They have been somebody who has just grinded every single tournament possible. And for him to finally have this huge performance on one of the biggest tournament stages that you can have right now, it's a delight to see, especially if you're somebody who is not only just a fan of Drew or a friend of Drew's.
Totally, yeah. I should reiterate that these guys, I think they're just Fallapalooza partners. They aren't actually. They have. This is the only time that they've played together in a tournament, but both of them have been playing in Fall Guys tournaments separately for a long time, and neither of them has really been able to kind of break out through. But they're proving
I think-
themselves here today.
I think that Lustrous plays on squad tournaments with Triumph. So at the very least, they have had like that squad tournament experience. But I feel like when you think of that team, no offense to Lustrous, but you see Triumph, you see KP. These are people who are in some of these bigger tournaments like a Fall Mania. And Lustrous just kind of feels like that name that hasn't been able to put himself on that like upper echelon compared to them. So he's finally getting to make himself a name for that. And I think that is itself is an incredible thing, because now people are going to be like, okay, this isn't just somebody who possibly could have been queuing up with these guys that are friends. This is somebody who is making themselves known for being aggressive, being an attacker, being somebody who makes these beautiful plays and is really showing off their skill here.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely. Still just a little bit of issues with the scorekeeping here. Looks like one of the players hasn't really submitted yet, but we're getting on it right away. We'll have those scores presented to you right away. We do know who's going to be moving on, so let's also take a look at the Wolfpack for just a moment here.
Yeah, so we pretty much know the results here. We are missing one of the scores there, as you see right there for Mr. Kororo, but no matter what, it's not going to equate, as both of the teams are pretty much already figured out as to who's going into day 2 here.
That's right, that's right. And yeah, no matter what the scores on Mr. Kororo are here, we are going to be seeing the Wolfpack moving on into the next round and facing off against the Bulbous Boys. And you can see Gas did get that crown. Be More Royal able to snag that crown, and 1280 kudos. Huge win in that third round, but it's just not enough to close the gap. Still 1,000 kudos difference. Even a double crown wouldn't have made the gap happen, folks.
Yeah, it was a tall order to overcome, and like we kind of talked about at the start of that round 3, you pretty much needed somehow Drew and Lustrous to just be eliminated in round 1 in order to even have a chance of a double crown plus being enough here, but it ended up not being the case, and here we are looking at the competitors of who are going to go into the quarterfinals.
There it is. Your Group 1 survivors moving on to Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Wolfgang being Paleo and Stratosphere. This is the second time they've found themselves in this quarterfinal spot, ladies and gentlemen, facing off against the Bulbous Boys, Drew Crew, and Lustrous, their first appearance on Sunday.
Really exciting to see out of these competitors again. These are veteran names to the tournament scene. We've mentioned it quite a few times, as these are people who have been in this scene for the longest time. These are people who have been constantly grinding away at every tournament, and here they are with arguably one of the best chances that they have winning to being able to win a tournament going into day 2 here.
Yep, absolutely. It'll be exciting to see how these guys face off against one another. That'll be a matchup. Again, these two teams, just Wolfgang has been kind of like just clutching out those crowns and clutching out those wins in the way that they need to move on in their brackets. They've had really tough opponents. You can tell they're the blue colors in, you know, the first 2 of their matches, which means that they're the lower seed, but they're overcoming the teams that they're facing off against and making it happen. So don't count them out just yet.
Yeah, honestly, you love to see it, though. I mean, as a spectator, no offense to anybody who roots for the favorite, but and even in traditional sports, what do we all like to see? We all like to see crazy stories. We like to see underdogs pulling off the victory. We like to see these, break away from the expectation to pull off a tremendous victory, pull off these fun storylines to be able to see. And the Wolfgang is doing just that right now with being the lower seed of both of their games and still being able to make it through and pop off in these amazing performances.
That's right. That's right. And the Fallapalooza action is just getting started, ladies and gentlemen. That was only the first group of 4 that we're showcasing here on this Saturday, full of high-intensity action. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be showing you Group 2 in just a few moments. Stay tuned, everybody.